What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday, April 15th to all of you. Happy Good Friday to you all. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. We have a huge show for you guys today. There'll be 3 of us and 4, including Jose, capping this MLB card. We have Ian Cameron joining us shortly, 2 games in NHL. And then for the full 15-game slate, it's an Easter miracle. We have Bobano and the Big Ragoo. So the 3 of us will be attacking this MLB card. And then it's Darryl Rice joining us for NBA. And shout out to all the cappers joining us here in the chat. And on the minds of all hockey fans is the passing of Mike Bossy. Real Deal Prime talking about it. Slats 45 talking about it. What a player. What an absolute player. I'd like to talk about it with Bobano. So I'd like to open up the NHL segment talking about the great Mike Bossy, who died of lung cancer yesterday at 65 years old. Real Deal Prime talk. I've got a bunch of his stats as well here to talk about. Slatsy says, rip Mike Bossy, fellow Montrealer. Only player to score 50 goals 9 straight seasons. Highest goal per game percentage in NHL history. Bossy and Gretzky share the record for most 60-goal seasons at 5. Real Deal Prime said, born in Montreal, first-round pick due to lack of speed. And what a player he was. 0.76 goals per game still stands as an NHL record. We will discuss him. There's Razor Sharp Picks running so hot. 5 straight winners for Razor Sharp Picks, up $1,250. Razor Sharp Picks, big horse racing show tonight. It's not just horse racing. There's so much action going on in sports tonight. So they're going to be live betting everything right across the board. It'll be great here on Pub Sports Radio. So join us on the Cash It Fridays with Razor Sharp Picks. There's Matty Ice in the house. Sammy Calmer ready to go. Dennis Garcia, Nilo Puzzler says, awake today. Billy Friedrich says, happy Jackie Robinson Day. Great call, Billy Friedrich. Yes, happy Jackie Robinson Day to all. What a pioneer and great man. How thankful are we? How thankful are we that a man of his strength was able to change the face of the game? Because it took an enormous amount of strength from that man. And we're all better off because of Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson Day. Happy Jackie Robinson Day. Serious business in the house. Michael Irvelina says, Jimmy absolutely killing it in hockey last night. It was a great night. It was a great night. Now, MLB, I've not gotten off to a good start in MLB. I was 3-2, just 3-2. I was keeping it very tight coming into the week. The week has not been good to me. It's been rough, and last night was rough too. It was the Rockies that hurt me badly and the juice associated with betting them. So we'll go over all of that here in a second before we bring in Bobano. Nilo on Real Sociedad at home at +100. There's LJ from H-Town ready to get to work. Slatsy, 6-2. One of the rare nights where I have a better night than Slatsy. God, Slatsy's such a great NHL capper. 6-2 plus 3.82 units last night. I would have swept the board had the Stars not lost in overtime. Devils first period at +180 was a push. I came close to betting that +0.5 at -120. I decided not to. Should have bet the under. Should have bet the Avs team total under. I mean, the breakdown was quite strong. I went 6-1 plus 6.4 units. Canucks -1.5 was a casher. Senators +225 was a casher. Also taking them full game instead of the first period, which is something I don't usually do with these big dogs, helped very much. Lightning first period -0.5 was a casher. Shout out to Uncle Oliver who got us on that one. Red Wings first period +0.5 was a casher. Oilers first period +100 was a casher. Stars +100 was a loser. Canucks first period -0.5 was a winner. But we can't talk about the glory without talking about everything that happened. And everything that happened was, I believe I was up 3.64 units overall. Let me just grab it here quickly. 3.64 units, I believe I was up overall. Yes, 3.64 units. But I went 3-5 down 2.76 units in MLB, losing both Rockies bets that were juiced. Cash Pittsburgh first 5 -0.5. Cash Pittsburgh first full game -1. And I'm going right back to the well with Mitch Keller. I don't like saying that out loud. Philadelphia, Miami, first 5 under 4.5 was a loser. Miami overall was a winner. And then the 2 unders were atrocious. LA, Texas, first 5 under 4.5, and Atlanta, San Diego under 3.5. So I'm sitting at 9-14 to start the season, and average line of -109, 39.1%, down 6.81 units, and it can get away from you quickly. So today's extremely important. It's an extremely important day for me to not let MLB get away from me. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play today is the Astros. We will discuss that. Shout out to Ron Crawford in the house. We got Jedi for Life says, good morning, all. Got kicked in the naughty bits last night. 1-4, need to turn this shit around. We will do that. We will all do that together. But shout out to all of you guys. It is so great to see all of you. Neil says, no work, so I'm ready to work here with you guys. And Billy Friedrich talking about Jackie Robinson Day. There's serious business in the house. Thank you, Michael Evelina. You know, there's not been enough glory in NHL this year, and we've had a good week, and it's never too late to turn that ship around. Never too late to turn the ship around. Mark Schlingberg in the house. Kenny Rogers, one in the house. I did watch the Kenny and Dab show, Dab and Kenny show, and it was excellent. What a great group they had on last night. I got to see Marley from Brothers and Bets, which was, absolute treat. Ich Schnizzle was on the show as well. The Dennis Trusty was on the show. It was absolutely great. So they're big things in their direction, and just keep doing what you guys are doing. I love it. Turnsey says, what an unbelievable game by Ned for the Wings. Yeah, there was a lot of good we did yesterday in our capping, and thinking that was a legitimate possibility was real, even though I don't like the guy. Thank you, Billy Friedrich. Yeah, you can't wear a White Sox hat like this without thinking about easy motherfucking E. Can't do it. And Nilo says it's his 15th wedding anniversary. So it's a really good Friday for me. Congratulations, Nilo. And I've met your beautiful wife. I can understand why you are so happy. You have a great, great family. I met your daughter, too. She's cool as ice. Nilo's daughter is grade 11. She's a black belt. Don't mess with Nilo's daughter. Do not mess with Nilo's daughter. There's a great, great group. Everybody's ready to rock here. Everybody's ready to go. So Guillermo Zertucci, Keeneland Race 9. We got Guillermo Zertucci horse racing action. I must copy and paste this. I must. Guillermo Zertucci. I must. Thank you for sharing that with all of us. G. All right. Bobano is waiting in the wings. He is ready to go. There's Fat Wally. Much love to you. Thank you for joining us. Clint started the Die Hard MMA podcast. Says Carey Price back in net tonight. Is it true? It seems like it's true, and I can't wait to talk about it. Can't wait. And Trenton Claxton says Oakland half was way money. Well, I may be late. Trenton, it was a gorgeous bet you made yesterday, and I may be late to the party, but I'm on them today at +150. There's Dan Bonner in the house that's being swamped with work and missed the show. Literally took off today just to tune in. I love it, Matt Bonner. I love it. And there is action from Clint. Wow, let's copy and paste that. Clint sharing his action as what we do here on the show. We just care about beating the books, defeating the juice, working together, and I love it. So I'm going to copy and paste their Clint's action. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Horse racing action, UFC action. It's going to be a hell of a show. It is going to be a hell of a show. And Billy Freaks said, how about your boy Ned last night? Stuck it throughout the Canes. Killed my... Oh, I'm sorry that killed you. I was on the Red Wings first period plus a half at -115. It was, as I said, it was one of the best NHL nights of the year for me. 6-1 plus 6.4 units. Proud about a lot of it. A nasty Nate in the house. Great to see you, Nate. And spreadsheet play today. Running hot. All right, it's time to get to work. Jay Peasy, thank you for joining us. We got the Teflon Dawn in the house. Says Clint brings it. Let's get stacks for black slacks. I like it a lot. There's Turnsey in the house ready to get to work. And Ragoo says Helen Keller looks decent. Both Helen and Mitch. Oh no, that's what we need. Okay, so Jose, new graphic alert. Mitch Keller with Helen Keller's face. New graphic alert. And not Mitch Keller with Helen Keller's body. We've had that mix up before, Jose. So we want Helen Keller's face, Mitch Keller in a Pirates uniform and see the magic that Jose can produce so quickly. So quickly. There's Elliot V in the house. Big Ragoo ready to get to work. Kenny Rogers won. Thank you so much for the dono. That means a ton to us, my man. And love what you guys are doing on your show last night. I enjoyed it immensely. Donald Loper having MLB questions right away. Says, what y'all think? Mets over Yankees under Giants. Oh, Mets over, Yankees under, Giants over, Brewers under, Rockies over, Braves over, Houston over. We're going to break down each and every one of those games with both Bobano and the Big Ragoo. There's the great Nut Flush Allen, Tim Montana X. Ronnie, we only talk sports on this show. We don't care about what's happening outside. We don't care. Couldn't care less what's happening outside. Don't care about it. Okay, let's get to work. Trenton Claxton, Sammy. What a great group. Steph Brosco ready to eat. Universal Luxury. Oh, Universal Luxury is back. We have not seen Universal Luxury in some time. Took offense from our COVID sketches and left us. But is back now. It is back. Nice to have you back. Okay. And oh, yes. Yes, we meant don't forget to roll the commercial later, Jimmy. Yes, that was my bad. We get a little caught up, but we promise we will roll, and we will roll the balls commercial often. We will roll the balls commercial often, but we have to get to work right now. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. Happy Good Friday to all of you. Let's get to work and bring on your first guest of the program. But first, George Leggins, thank you so much for the dono. Said the White put on Final Destination 3 last night. I freaked out when I saw my guy Jimmy. Thanks, George. Well, happy. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That was things just went downhill from there. I think in my life, that was probably that was probably the height of my success. Actually, I tell you what. In all honesty, when I saw Underclassmen, which is unwatchable, Nick Cannon stars in it, and it's just one of the worst movies of all time. But we shot 5 weeks Vancouver, 5 weeks in LA. 5 weeks I stayed in the Le Montrose Hotel in Beverly Hills. Outcast was in the hotel because MTV was doing MTV Awards in LA. And 2 of the weeks I only had to go on set one day. And I think those were the greatest 5 weeks of my entire life. I wore the Le Montrose robe everywhere I went. All right, let's get to work right now. But thank you, George, for the kind words. Kevin says Red Sox going to win tonight. Well, we do have a Red Sox expert, and he's having an excellent season. And his name is Jose Bouquet, and that is his Hey Play of the Day. So we will bring him out for that game. But first, let's talk NHL with Hamilton's finest. Ian Cameron in the house. Bobano, how are you, my man?
Good, Jimmy. Great to be with you as always on a Friday. It's a good Friday. It's always a good Friday because I'm on the show with you.
It is. It is. We're coming off a huge night in NHL. But let's start by I know we touched on it off the very top, but possibly the greatest goal scorer in the history of the NHL. I know that Alexander Ovechkin is on his way to say, no, that's me, and he likely will. But Mike Bossy died last night. Born in Montreal, 65 years old, of lung cancer. And I just want, for people who don't know how special this man was, because he didn't play enough games, 752 regular season games, and he had to stop his career due to injuries. 573 goals, 553 assists, the fastest player to reach the 100-goal mark, 22nd on the career goals list in 752 games. 160 points also in 129 playoff games, 4-time Stanley Cup champion. Let's just talk a little bit about him. So he won the Conn Smythe in 82. He scored the Stanley Cup winning goal in both 82 and 83. He played his entire 10-year career on Long Island with one team. He won the Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year. He was tough as nails, but he won the Lady Byng 3 times. That's for gentlemanly conduct. 50 or more goals in each of his first 9 seasons. Him and Wayne are the only players to score 50 goals in 9 seasons. Only 5 players to score 50 goals in 50 games. Only 2 players have more hat tricks than Mike Bossy. He had 39 of them, again, in just 752 games. So, we lost a special one. And I know that's happening a lot in life as we're getting older. And, we lost Dale Howardchuk to recently, who was unbelievably special. Bobano, any words on Mike Bossy before we break down the card?
Yeah, he was one of the best pure finishers and goal scorers ever. And there's no debate on that whatsoever. And the historian that I am in every sport, obviously, his days of playing ended just when I was just a little kid. So a lot of what I saw of him was classic games. And I remember the NHL Network would always show a lot of those old Islander games from the 80s involving Mike Bossy. And he just, when he got the puck in the slot area right in front of the net, he just knew how to beat the opposing goalie. And if it was one-on-one, it was good night to the opposing netminder. You weren't going to stop him. He was that good. He had an incredible offensive flair. And you mentioned the fact that he scored 50 or more goals 9 seasons. He did it in 9 consecutive seasons. 9 straight seasons of 50-plus goals, an incredible feat. Not even Gretzky did that. And when you see something like that, you think to yourself, no one's ever going to do that again. However, a certain number 34 with the Toronto Maple Leafs right now, if he avoids injuries for the next 9 seasons, I wouldn't rule it out with him from what we've seen. But still, that's going to be a hard feat to beat. He was incredibly gentlemanly. Lady Byng Award, he won multiple times. He wasn't someone that endorsed fighting a whole lot, and he refused to get involved in a fight, and people kind of accused him of being, a little bit soft, a little bit easy to play against. No, he made you pay offensively. He scored big goals, and even though he wasn't known for getting involved in the rough stuff very much, he made you pay with his offensive ability and his talent and his elite level finishing. And he did that time and time again throughout his career. Besides, he didn't need to be exactly, a guy that needed to stand up for himself on that Islanders team. You got a bunch of tough son of a guns that were there to protect him at all times. That was a very, very tough team, the New York Islanders. So he had a great career. He was apparently very funny, but one of the nicest people you'll meet from all accounts, and just a true legend in the NHL. And still, he deserves to be on a day like this, obviously with his passing, very sad. And you hate to see someone lose their life in this fashion. But this is an opportunity, I think, for everybody to recognize just what an elite talent this guy was in the prime of his career. So like you said, Jimmy, you said it well. Rest in peace, Mike Bossy, and condolences to him, to his family, and everyone that knew him.
Beautifully put, Bobano, beautifully put. And it gives younger hockey fans a chance to go down that rabbit hole and check out some of his clips and how unbelievably special a hockey talent he was. And that Islanders team was extremely special. And rest in peace to Mike Bossy, too young, 65 years old, of lung cancer. And Turnsey saying, what was the issue? It was his back. But hockey was much.
Think about that. How good could he have been if his back, just didn't end his career as early as it did? He could have gone on and just added to that goal count even more. He could add multiple seasons where he's still, and in the final season, he had something like in 60 games, 39? He had 30-some goals.
Yeah, 39 or 38 goals.
Yeah,
a great year. He was just, he was unbelievable. He was unbelievable hockey player.
And he was playing through extreme pain that final season. And he still ends up almost with 40 goals in 60-plus games. That's unreal.
They tried to intimidate him every time he was on the ice. I mean, people tried to hurt him all the time because he was so special. And then Slatsy, of course, saying Clark Gillies died a few months ago. So Trache, the only survivor on one of the best lines ever. There's Nilo in the house saying, ask Bobano what jelly uses. San Antonio humidity can't penetrate it. Must be more than just good hair.
Yeah.
Must be more.
It's I just use what is that? I'm trying to see.
You can keep it secret. Keep it secret.
Keep it secret. All right, I'll keep it secret. The secret formula. Yeah.
Wait till they pay you. When they start paying you, Bobano, then you can tell everybody what you use, man.
Yeah. It's not so much what you pick and it's how you apply it.
Is that right?
Exactly
okay. Well, maybe a little. Maybe a little. You'll have to do some sort of a lecture for us, some sort of a video. All right, let's get to work right now. Into NHL. Again, we're coming off a giant day, and those of you who work with me for years know that when I come off giant days, I'm pretty pensive and shitty. And this really is tricky. So let's get right to work. 7 p.m. Eastern, New York Islanders at Montreal Canadiens. We're at the Bell Center in Montreal, Quebec. These habitants 10-21-4 at home. We have Semyon Varlamov versus Carey Price. We expect Carey Price to be in net. And what a wild story the young man out of Anaheim Lake, British Columbia, has had. His mom is the chief out there, and she's very, very respected woman in the community and in all of British Columbia, for that matter. And Price, came in. I thought the Habs should have drafted Gilbert Brulé, because Brulé was the Vancouver player out of the Giants, and I thought he should have been the guy who was drafted by the Habs, and they made the right move clearly by picking Price, and he's had a spectacular career that's clouded a little bit from the rehab that he has come out of, and how he made it through the Stanley Cup run with the way we suspect he was living is very interesting, and what the Habs will do in front of Carey Price is very tricky. Puzzler says Roto expects Montembeault. Yes, a lot of the sites say that, but we know. I mean, Bobano, you're expecting Carey Price.
He's in the morning skate this morning, taking shots from from the team. So it sure looks like it's him, even though Carey Price will be starting. Hasn't been confirmed, but it sure looks like it's going to be him in net.
Price,
yeah.
Yes, yeah. Everybody in Montreal expects Price. All the hockey insiders expect Price. Islanders are on the second half of a back-to-back after losing 6-3 to the Penguins yesterday. Barry Trotz very angry at the first period, saying we were soft, we were too easy to play against. Habs coming off their third straight loss, 5-1 at Columbus on Wednesday night. Look, Marty St. Louis, they're 12-13-4 under St. Louis. He says, I think this team is mentally tired, and I get it. One thing that could change that is having Carey Price between the pipes. Slatsy says, as much as it hurts me to say, Habs should have drafted Anze Kopitar. Still looking for that number one center. Interesting take there. I get that, but Bono, the $1 million question is, what are the Habs going to do in front of Carey Price? And when you look at the market, it's certainly, the Habs were at plus 145. They're down to plus 130. I mean, they're saying that Carey Price will be in net and the Habs are going to go all out tonight. Take it away, Bobano. Islanders, Habs.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be on Montreal if Carey Price is in. Simple as that. Plus 130. I know they haven't played great hockey lately. But certainly from a scheduling perspective here, there's a lot of things that favor them. The schedule certainly does. Islanders played last night against Pittsburgh. Montreal rested coming into this game. And I like these situations for teams that are obviously out of the playoffs, teams that have had disappointing seasons. You want to find those spots that give a team inspiration, that give them a reason to really go out there and play. And we saw that with Chicago last night when they're saying goodbye to their legendary 40-year broadcaster, Pat Foley. I thought it was a great situational spot to look for the Blackhawks to step up last night. Now, they didn't make it easy because they had a 4-2 lead and they blew it. That's Chicago because their defense and goaltending is just so bad it can't be trusted sometimes. But at the end of the day, they pulled through. They won in a shootout 5-4, and they brought you that effort. Like, you could see it. They're harder on pucks. They worked harder to get the puck back when San Jose had it last night. Those little things that add up to what you want from a team when they've got that little extra bit of motivation and incentive and inspiration for a particular game. And I have no doubt in my mind tonight, if Carey Price is in net, there's some serious inspiration and motivation that Montreal will have to bring it tonight and get a W for this guy. Everything he's been through, everything he's meant to the organization, what he's suffered through in his own personal life, battling mental health and, depression and struggles and anxiety and all that stuff. And the fact he's persevered, he got checked into a clinic to get all of that looked out after, take care of it so he could be a good dad, be a good husband, because he's got a wife and kids, and get back to hockey and back with his team. And let's also not forget about the fact that Carey Price was absolutely one of the leaders of the Montreal Canadiens, always has been. I know, goalies don't wear the C, but he has that kind of aura about him that he's like a captain type figure on this hockey team. He has a lot of, that kind of cachet, I guess you could say, with the team. Carey Price is in the room or says something, people listen. Carey Price shows up and, in a situation like this where he's back with the team practicing, could start tonight. That gets everybody's attention. On the flip side, I know the Islanders have played pretty well, the last couple of weeks for a team that's had their playoff dreams dashed for a while now. They haven't mailed it in down the stretch. The effort's been commendable. They split with Pittsburgh, although last night wasn't one of their better efforts. And look, I expect them to give a solid effort tonight. Certainly they weren't happy with their performance last night against Pittsburgh. But we're still talking about an Islanders team that's laying $150 on the road, team that sometimes, struggles to get their offensive game on track. And I think tonight they're playing a Montreal team that, again, they're not playing great. I truly believe what Marty St. Louis is saying is correct, because they have looked a little bit, I don't know, they've lacked that extra little burst in a lot of their games lately. We definitely saw signs of that against Columbus the other night. But in a spot like this, if Carey Price is in net, I expect that to be a real adrenaline rush for this team to say, let's go out there. Carey Price is back. Let's get this man a W. He deserves it. He's been through a lot. So if I see Carey Price confirmed in net tonight, Jimmy, 100%, I'll be on the Canadiens here as home underdogs. And
what do you think about the Islanders playing their first game after Mike Bossy's death? Do you think that will?
Yeah, that's another situational element that you're right. And I actually hadn't even thought of that till just now. You're right with Mike Bossy playing. Yeah, I understand that too. I do. It definitely is something that, a lot of the Islander players, a lot of them, I think a lot of them did interact with Bossy at one point or another, because he was always very, very closely attached to the organization the last several years. So, the guys that have been there for a while, Matt Barzal, Anders Lee, go on down the list. I'm sure a lot of them had a very close relationship with Mike Bossy. So you can't underestimate that as well, playing with heavy hearts tonight, potentially on the Islanders side. But nevertheless, this is a price play too. And I kind of thought this with a bunch of the games the last week or so, where, and I've mentioned this before, you have two non-playoff teams playing each other. You're going to have to give me a good reason why any of those two teams in that matchup would be a minus 150 favorite, or higher. You've got to give me a really good reason to say, why is it two non-playoff teams are playing each other and one of them's a minus 150 favorite? And in those situations, I'm almost always going to say dog or pass. And I think, though, for this particular game tonight, with Carey Price potentially returning, I think there's a real legitimate case to be made for this underdog.
I completely understand the breakdown. Slatsy's on Habs plus 131 at Pinnacle. Price has been confirmed. Nutflexon says, do we think the Islanders are just going to give the game to Price? I tell you what, I don't want anything to do with it. I don't. There's just too many elements going on here that are in play, and you add Price coming back. The great Mike Bossy dies yesterday. First game ever.
These Islander trends too on a back-to-back are not pretty. 5-10 on the year, 1-5 off a loss on a back-to-back this season. So not pretty on a back-to-back spot this year for the Islanders either.
No, I hear that. But Trotzy very angry with the club after that game last night in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
I get it. Let's lock you in here. Plus 131 at Pinnacle, Bobano.
Let me see if I think that might be the best we've got right now. Yeah, we'll take that. I think that's about as good as it gets.
And I'm a little behind. I've got your everybody's MLB caught up or whatever, but I fell a little bit behind when we were in San Antonio on your NHL. And I know you've been doing well in NHL, so I'm a little behind on your record keeping at this point.
That's all right.
And I am off of this game, but Bobano's on it. Let's move on to the final game on the card, and then we have MLB and the Big Ragoo joining us. Winnipeg Jets 35-28-11, 16-13-8 on the road at the Florida Panthers 52-15-6, 31-6-0 at home at Florida Live Arena in Sunrise, Florida. Connor Hellebuck going up against Sergei Bobrovsky. Hellebuck 27-25-10, 2.93 goals against average. I'm thinking baseball. And No Somebody says, what's the equivalent to a backwood in NHL? We got to work on that. 4 shutouts. Or 3 for Bobrovsky, 4 for Hellebuck. Winnipeg power play at 21.6%, penalty killing at 74.7%. Florida power play at 24.2%, 79.1% penalty killing. Winnipeg comes in off their second straight win, 4-2 at Montreal on Monday. They had their Wednesday game, home game versus the Kraken, postponed due to this April blizzard, one of the biggest blizzards. I don't even know how it ended off. I Cindy Plays Horses is in the chat, so Cindy could let us know how it affected how big the blizzard was. I don't know. They're 7 points and 3 spots back of the wildcard berth in the Western Conference. Scheifele did not travel with the team. He's got a shoulder injury. He is the straw that stirs the drink. But Blake Wheeler returns to the lineup, and I've been very impressed with Wheeler's season. He had a terrible beginning to it, and he did come back like the leader that he is. Panthers coming off their 8th straight win, 3-2 at home in overtime over the Ducks. They've outscored their opposition 41-25 over that 8-game run, and they've scored 4 goals, at least 4 goals in 7 of those 8 games. They've scored 7 goals in 3 of those games, but not last game. Huberdeau's point streak is now at 12. He's got 9 goals and 12 assists over that period. And he has, listen to this, he's been held off the score sheet. This is one of those things we were talking about Devon Taves. I don't know if he's still at this, but after 60 games of the year, he had not had 1 game as a minus player. And I thought that was unbelievably impressive. And look at Huberdeau, only 3 games of the past 34 has he not scored a point. 52 points, 13 goals, 39 assists over that stretch. Now, Bobano, so look, I was like, I want to fade Winnipeg, but And I know Huberdeau is saying, look, we care. We want to keep winning. But they're comfortably going to win the division. And I was like, okay, so I wanted to bet them on the puck line without Scheifele there. But how much do they really, really care? And then I took a look at Florida's last few games at home. And they haven't been cashing that puck line very often. Sorry, something in my eye here. Anaheim, they win 3-2 in overtime as huge favorites. Buffalo, they win 4-3 as huge favorites. The Leafs, they came back and won 7-6 in overtime. So there's last 3 games they didn't do it. They did do it against the Blackhawks in the Habs. So it's just been the last 3 games that they have not cleared on the puck line. So in fact, the 5 games previous to that, 6 games previous to that, wow. So then 6 previous to that, they did clear the puck line. So it's just the last 3 that they haven't cleared the puck line. How are you betting this? Take it away, Bobano. Jets, Panthers.
Yeah, I like over 6.5. Minus 120 is the best price out there right now with that at FanDuel. So a very good, and FanDuel now available here in Ontario. So very happy about that. Now, it's always good to have more books and more options, and that's definitely the case. So over 6.5, minus 120 there. I think you'll see goals. I think Winnipeg can score without Scheifele. They've been able to do that the last couple of games. Remember, he's missed a few games now for the Jets with that injury. And they have been pretty good offensively here, the Jets, the last few games. You look at what they've done. They scored 4 against Montreal, 4 against Ottawa, 4 albeit in a loss against Colorado. So that's 12 goals in the last 3 games combined for the Jets going into this game tonight. Probably see Hellebuck and Bobrovsky, your 2 starting goalies. I keep saying this about Hellebuck. He's had a really, really tough season, uneven, inconsistent. That continues to be a problem for him. Bobrovsky hasn't been nearly as good down the stretch as he was earlier in the season. You look at some of these games lately from him, where he gave up 4 against the Leafs, got pulled, 6 against Jersey, 3 against Buffalo. He's definitely been letting in some goals lately, more maybe than he did earlier in the year. So when I look at this matchup earlier this year, they played in Winnipeg. 5-3 was the final score. It went over the total. I trust both of these teams more offensively than defensively at the moment. There's no question about that. And that's the one thing the Jets still have major issues with right now, major issues. And to be quite honest with you, I'm shocked that they have so many issues defensively, because I really thought, in the offseason when they picked up Brendan Dillon and they picked up Nate Schmidt, I thought that was going to go a long way to really bolstering this blue line. And they really have not played that to that level for the majority of the season. So I actually am going to have a smaller bet, not an official play for the show, but the first period, if you can bet it, find it. A lot of books have this. Both teams to score in the first period. You can get a plus price on that. And I think that's definitely something that's worth a look here in this game as well. The Winnipeg Jets are 8 points back of that final spot. And that's the problem, Jimmy. Winnipeg's been winning, but, Dallas gets a big point last night. They just can't seem to make up any ground. But the bottom line is they need to get off to a fast start. You can't be chasing the game against Florida. So I'd expect them to be aggressive early. And, of course, when it comes to Florida on home ice, we can usually count on them to score a goal in the opening 20 minutes. So that both teams to score, which you can first period in this game, which you can find at around plus 125. I think that's a good bet as well. But definitely official play for me, over 6.5 minus 120.
Well, you have it locked in. I am going to rest off the giant day yesterday and focus solely on MLB is what I'm going to do. Actually, I have a move in NBA, but solely on MLB and NBA. Over 6.5 for Bobano and Jets, Panthers, and the Habs. By the way, Nutflush did find you a plus 134. North Ender said the Panthers have proven they still want to win, making big comebacks late game in and game out. Yeah, no, I hear that. But have they shown the intensity at the opening face-off? They're a great live bet. I get it, but nothing for me. So there you have it. Habs plus 134. Bobano on the over 6.5. Jets, Panthers. It is time for Major League Baseball on Jackie Robinson Day. And we will not have the games going beneath us for this segment, as we're going to be loaded up here. Welcome your next guest to the show, the legend, the Big Ragoo in the house, joining us. Ragoo, how are you, my man?
What's up? How we doing, fellas? Happy JR Day. Jackie Robinson, mucho respect. Homage to him, number 42, all the way, all day. Let's go.
First of all, before we begin, I got to pay homage to this guy, Big Ragoo. This guy is one of the pillars of our community. He's one of the absolute, truly great guys, and it was an absolute pleasure hanging with him. We had great pizza at that pizza joint right next to Southtown down there in San Antonio. Big Ragoo, it was a pleasure down in San Antonio, my friend.
Ragoo, you know what I'm going to ask you about?
What's that, brother?
Where's the fucking strap?
I'm going to get it out and whip your ass in a minute.
Well said, Bobano. Well said.
Yeah.
How lucky are we? How fortunate are we that we get to cap with Ragoo day in and day out, sport in and sport out, because he is able to handle all these sports with such skill and grace. Very, very, very impressive. Ragoo opened up his account on Wednesday. So Bobano opened up his account here on the show on Friday. We'll just quickly go over your guys' start here on the show. Bobano had the tough luck with your Red Sox bets. It looked like they were going to both cash at huge numbers.
I remember that.
And the bullpen fell apart late. And the bad luck carried over because the Chicago White Sox Detroit first 5 over 4 didn't cash yet. The full game cashed.
Yep.
So it was a tough start. You did get the Texas Toronto over 9, but it was a tough start to your account here on the show. And then Ragoo, at times it looked like you were going to have a monster night on Wednesday, and
one run away in 3 of the games.
So the Cleveland Cincinnati under 9.5, they ended up at 10, which sucks. You did cash Mets first 5 and the Red Sox first 5 minus half, a plus 115. So those were nice scores. Astros -1 didn't come through. That San Diego San Francisco first 5 under 3.5 cashed. Padres and Rays first 5. Padres money line, Rays first 5 minus half didn't cash, but you did cash Toronto, New York over 8. So it was a middling day, but just day 1 of the season. So let's get to work, fellas. And we start at 1:10 p.m. Eastern. And I've made 7 bets on this MLB card already and have tweeted them out. Big Ragoo getting a lot of love here. By the way, Taint Play of the Day is in. Taint Play of the Day is in. So why don't we start there, because it's on this very game here. Also celebrating Jackie Robinson Day, as all baseball fans are. We have Taint Play today is on the New York Mets run line -1.5. He also likes the Mets team total over 4.5. But the taint, the sweet, sweet taint, is Mets run line. Taint. All right, let's get to work, fellas. Arizona Diamondbacks 2-4. This is their first road game of the season of the New York Mets 5-2. The home opener at Citi Field in Queens, New York. We have Zach Davies going up against Chris Bassett. Zach Davies went 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, no homers, 3 walks, 2 Ks in a 5-2 loss at home to San Diego, while Bassett 6 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 8 Ks in a 5-0 win at Washington. Bassett looked very good in his first start. Will that carry over here Our man, Matt Randall, believes it will. Diamondbacks are not hitting righties thus far. 144, 584 OPS. Not the same can be said about the Mets, who are smashing them. 271, 821 OPS. Diamondbacks bullpen has looked very good, surprisingly, to start the year. 2.84 ERA, 1.29 whip, while the Mets bullpen, 4.15 ERA, 1.31 whip. I'm going to bring up the market moves. I can give you the one market move here from our old haunt where I used to work for, which is continually changing their so now Pinnacle is not up, and they're adding in the legal books. So it looks like that's the way they're going to go. We're not sure how they're going to do things, but I can tell you that at Bet365, the Mets opened up minus 200 yesterday at 3:25 p.m. when it opened. Right now, they're minus 235. And from a totals perspective, we've dropped a full run, 8.5 down to 7.5. We'll start with the Big Ragoo. What we'll do is each game we'll start one. Ragoo will start this game, and then the next game, Bobano will start. I'll make notes so I know who's everything, keeping it clear. Big Ragoo, take it away. First game on the card, Diamondbacks, Mets.
That's a big drop, a full run. Wow. I wouldn't expect that, but maybe, it's indicative of the bats from the Zona team. But hey, how about those Mets, man? Domi's probably having a whale of a time right now with the fast start. I figured with DeGrom, is DeGrom going to crack that rotation the way the Mets are pitching right now? It's fucking unbelievable, man. It's spooktacular. It's scary how good these guys are playing right now. But a lot of Met fans in my family too. So shout out to them assholes that like the Mets. But what can we say? I mean, it's a big number. Minus 230-ish. I seen some books that had like the high 180s, that type of number on the open, but those went away pretty quick. And I think Matty's right here. The only look for me to play this side would have to be on the run line with the Mets, because I don't think normally I would say when I see like a 7.5, I'm always going to probably look at a first 5 under. It's going to be my first impression. But in this particular spot, as good as the Mets rotation has been, maybe look to fade possibly Arizona in the first 5 on a team total possibly. But do we trust the Mets arm coming in? Bassett, I know he's young. I know he hasn't had a lot of experience up against the squad, which is probably to his benefit. But I would have to say I would either run with the Iceman or take a first 5 under on the D-backs.
I get it. All of that makes sense. Just before we throw over to Bobano, 14,047 tickets in. 23% of the tickets on Arizona money line, 43% of the cash. So big bets have come in on Arizona, and then 43% of tickets on the over and 58% of cash on the over. And maybe that money came in once they moved to 7.5. Take it away, Bobano, Diamondbacks, Mets.
Yeah, apparently there's a COVID situation with the Mets, just a little bit. We don't know the exact specifics yet, but that's apparently something to keep in mind. I mean, I'm probably not betting the game, but I'm absolutely not going to talk Matty Ice with the taint play of the day or the team total over on the Mets. Zach Davies was one of the worst starters in Major League Baseball last year with the Cubs. 5.78 ERA last year. 25 home runs allowed in 148 innings. 99 runs in 148 innings, 75 walks in 148 innings last year with the Cubs. I mean, those are horrendous numbers for Zach Davies. Absolutely awful. Now, his first start, it was decent, but he kind of labored through it. I don't think it was a sign of, wow, Zach Davies really pitched all that great. He definitely scuffled and stumbled his way through, 2 runs of 5 innings. They ended up losing that game to the Padres. Davies, by the way, 5.01 ERA in his career versus the New York Mets, which isn't a good sign either. I just think at this stage of his career, he's a bottom tier starter, and I want no part of him. And look, it's not like Arizona is beating the hell out of the baseball right now. Their offense has definitely struggled to plate runs on a day-to-day basis. Really, the only time I bet Arizona this year was a couple days ago, and it worked out with a first 5 and full game split with them against Houston with Merrill Kelly. He's one of the few pitchers I want to back on that Arizona pitching staff. But Zach Davies ain't one of them. It is the home opener for the New York Mets. You'd expect them to be pretty excited. Keep an eye on the lineup. You don't want to be caught with your pants down here and see that there's a couple players maybe out due to protocol or whatever's going on with with the Mets, but certainly I wouldn't talk anyone out of a Mets run line or a Mets team total. I think I prefer the team total. I'm not as totally sold on Chris Bassett as others. He had a good first start. We'll see if he can keep it going. However, this might not be the day to fade him because he's, again, facing a pretty punchless Arizona lineup. So, like I say, I think the team total over 4.5 is a pretty good look in this game.
The Mets lineup is confirmed. McNeil, Marte, Lindor, Alonso, Escobar, Cano, Davis, Jankowski, and McCann. For the Diamondbacks, Varsho, Marte, Peralta, Walker, Smith, Beer, Alcantara, Herrera, and Perdomo. It opens at first pitch, 67 Fahrenheit, clear, 9.2 miles per hour, sideways, very slightly out, gets to 10.7 and 12.8. By the end of the game, it is a little further out. But it is.
By the way, I want to throw this out because I've wanted to mention it and totally forgot. Davies. Sometimes we look at the ERA, and you always make the case with some pitchers, like with Davies last year, 5 ERA. It's not good. Oh, but maybe he was unlucky. Maybe he had some misfortune in those numbers, in that 5 ERA. But then you look at the xERA that he had last year, which is the more advanced number, which really takes the luck factor out of it. His xERA last year was 6.31, Zach Davies. So it was actually even higher than his standard ERA numbers. So, no, it's a guy I don't trust, flat out. No way. I'm not going to have many Zach Davies tickets in my pocket this year.
Matty Ice used to coach Bassett too. Says he's a gamer. Says me, Dom, and Bassett are going to go all have dinner if he ever makes it out to NYC. Says he will be ready and he will bring it. He will be ready and he will bring it. And then Sammy Culmer has a very important point. Says still pissed at myself for betting the Jays. As soon as I saw Tapia batting fifth, knew the Jays were finished. Checked those lineups. And Dennis Garcia was talking about that. He was saying that the Yankees were a gift yesterday. Look, Tapia's batting fifth. We've also had our looks from our guy, Hunter Engelhardt, whom you will see on this show. I can't find it now for some reason, but I did copy and paste it. And Cindy Plays Horses has action. Jose, do you mind popping that up? Because I've got to move on to the next show. But she's got 2 horses that she likes early at Laurel. The Thinker at 20-1 money line. Second time starting and getting more distance from Cindy Plays Horses. And Cindy Plays Horses has a great ROI with horses on the show. And she gave us a winner recently, at a double-digit price. So keep an eye on when Cindy Plays Horses locks in. New York Mets run line -1.5 and team total, liking the team total over for Matty Ice, but no official action from our experts right now. Let's move on to 2:10 p.m. Eastern. And thank you, Sam. I respect. Let's move to 2:10 p.m. Eastern. And for this game, we bring in the hottest capper in MLB in the business, our producer, Jose Bouquet. Jose, join us, my friend. Great to see you. And we're very interested in your take in this game. This is your say hey play of the day. And I know the market's been moving towards the Red Sox, but I came very close to betting Joe Ryan. And I didn't because I remember well what Nick Pivetta was able to do at Fenway last year, and that first loss, 5 2/3, 4 hits, 4 runs, 2 homers, 3 walks, 4 Ks, was at Yankee Stadium. And I thought, why make a move when I could hear your insights on this game? Moose money is on Sox first 5, says some day-night splits on Pivetta. I remember those from last year as well. And Nasty Nate says Sox smash, Smog smash. Ronnie says bury the Red Sox, run line, baby. We are at Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts. The Twins are 2-4 so far this year. This is their first road game of the year and the home opener at Fenway today. We have Joe Ryan, 4 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, 1 homer, 4 walks, 4 Ks, and a 2-1 home loss versus the Mariners on opening day. The Twins have no average, but still have power against righties. 172 average, 614 OPS, while the Red Sox versus righties, 215, 662 OPS. Twins bullpen has been lucky at 3.95 ERA with a 1.65 whip. The Red Sox bullpen has been very good. 2.8 for ERA with a 1.14 whip. There's Sean Thompson in the house giving love to Jose with Jose's spectacular start to the year. Just quickly to set a table, it's windy in Fenway, 17.8 miles per hour at first pitch out to right field, sideways, but out to right field. And it dulls a little bit throughout the game, 14.7 down to 13.4. When we get over to the cash flow in this game, as I said, the moving towards the Red Sox, they open up at -110. They're now at -130. This total opens up at 10.5 and has been dropping to 10 and now to 9.5. Again, those are Bet365 openers. When we go over to the cash in this spot, we have the where the hell is it? The Red Sox here, 13,479 tickets in, 21% of the tickets, 51% of the cash on the Twins, 49% of tickets on the under, 86% of cash on the under, and the lineups are in for Minnesota: Buxton, Arraez, Correa, Polanco, Kepler, Sanchez, Larnach, Sano, Jeffers, and for the Red Sox, Hernandez, Devers, Bogarts, Martinez, Verdugo, Story, Dalbec, Bradley, Vasquez. We'll go around the horn here, starting with Jose. Say hey, play of the day, over to Bobano, and then to the Big Ragoo. Jose, take it away. And in this, actually, you know what? We'll close with who your guest is and your record. So why don't we close with that? But first, we'll start with your breakdown and your say hey, play of the day. Take it away.
Well,
you're muted, my guy. There you go.
It's pretty simple. This is the first time I've done it this year. Make a note of it. Write it down in your diaries for this day. I'm taking the Twins first 5 -1/2. Pretty simply, Joe Ryan is a pitcher that I like to bet on this year. Shout out to Molly the dog, by the way, making an appearance on the show today. He's pitched against the Red Sox before in spring training. 3 innings pitched, 1 walk, 5 Ks. The announcers mentioned that he dominated, I think yesterday or the day before. He's a pitcher that everyone's been kind of high on this offseason. And on top of all that, I think honestly, capping baseball, obviously pitching, starting pitching, capping, that's the most important thing. And Nick Pivetta last year, you mentioned it, Jim, home road splits, 3.75 on the road, 5.4 at home. So I'm taking the Red Sox, or I'm taking the Twins first 5 here. It kind of sucks to say because it's opening day for the Red Sox. I literally cried this morning watching a video the Red Sox put out for opening day. So I'm obviously excited for it. But I think Joe Ryan's a great pitcher here. I think that he'll stifle the Red Sox early. And I wouldn't be surprised if Nick Pivetta gave up runs early too. On a Twins offense, it's pretty good. Carlos Correa smashes. Byron Buxton's trying to win an MVP this year with his play so far. So just pretty simply, give me the Mets or the Twins first 5 here. I just don't believe in the Red Sox offense right now. Hasn't got going. I got it last night at first 5 -1/2 at +125. Probably moved a little bit, but I just don't think the Red Sox come out super hot to start off the year here.
I love it. I love it. And the -1/2 is big balls, big balls. What is the price that you're getting on the -1/2?
I got him +125. I just, Jim, it's one of those things that I've learned in the couple of weeks that I've been capping baseball every day so far. If I think the team is just playing better and wins, I don't want to fuck with the +1/2. I think that the -1/2 is just better value. I did it with the Rockies the other day against the Rangers. I thought the Rockies would win the game outright. I didn't want to fuck with their bullpen, so I just took the -1/2 for +150-ish. That hits. They end up winning the game outright, so good for me. But I just don't see the point in taking the +1/2 if you want to be safe, as you would say, Jim. This is just not for me here. I'll take the bigger juice, and it's +1/2 -132. So that's just a very, very easy decision for me on this one.
It's up to +140 at my book. I bet you I could get better than that because the first 5 is +110. So
yeah, I understand that the money is coming on the Red Sox too, and this is. I handle this as how you handle hockey, Jim. I don't give 2 fucks about the money coming in. I really don't. And Sharpie does the similar thing.
But the money's coming in on the Twins. The big bets are on the Twins.
Well, fantastic. That makes me feel better. But like Sharpie says, he'll come up with his own number. He'll write it down and then look at the numbers. I'll look at what I play now, just who do I think is going to win, who the better team is, and then I'll look from numbers from there. You know, last night was the most, or I guess the most amount of plays I've added the night before of a game or of a show, I should say. I added a bunch, and I think all these plays jumped out at me. I love the card today. I had my first, well, I should say my second losing night of the season last night at 3-3. Little down some juice. So I think I hopefully have a bounce back day here, and I think Joe Ryan dazzles again.
I love it. I almost made this bet before the show started. I did not. We can get you +140 at Bet365. By the way, Pinnacle's at +126. So you're getting a much better line at Bet365 right now. All right, say hey is in. Let's go over to Bobano, Twins, Red Sox.
I mean, everybody's talking about Joe Ryan like he's going to win a Cy Young Award. I mean, let's calm down a little bit. Holy gosh. I mean, it's everybody. I mean, everyone I've talked to just loves Joe Ryan. Like, I didn't love his first start, and he faced against a Seattle team that lineup-wise has not impressed me so far this year. We just saw them have trouble hitting freaking people like Velasquez in that series. They couldn't really get string consistent hits together. Keuchel, they kind of struggled to put runs on the board against him. And Joe Ryan in his first start against Seattle, 4 walks in 4 innings, had command issues, had some control issues, didn't eat up innings. You're going to see a lot of the Twins bullpen today. That's a problem, in my opinion. I need to see more from Joe Ryan before we're ready to jump on that train. Look, Nick Pivetta struggled in his first start a little bit against the Yankees. He really ran into trouble in the 5th, 6th inning there. He started to give up some home runs, and that's when the game turned a little bit. Nick Pivetta can be serviceable. I've seen him pitch well. I've also seen him get crushed. This is, to me, 2 pitchers that I want to watch a little bit more before I bet their game. So it's a pass for me. I'm personally pumping the brakes on Joe Ryan for the moment.
I understand that. Let's hear what the Big Ragoo has to say about the home opener in Fenway Park.
Hey, it should be an exciting time for the guys in Fenway, especially you, Jose. But I'm not going to say shame on you, but shame on you anyways, my friend. I think the play here is definitely on the Sox side. I mean, like Ian said, I know Joe Ryan is a solid pitcher, and they can both be spotty, probably more so on Pivetta's side. And I'm not going to write off the Yanks' victory. Attribute that to a road home split. But I know he's faced Minnesota once before. He's got touched up by them. But credit to Rocco Baldelli and what he's done with the Sox in the offseason. I mean, with the Twins, what he's done in the offseason, kind of piecing things together with that big trade with the Yanks. I like anybody that comes out of Tampa organization. They're winners wherever they put them in the league. So it's a young team. I think they're going to have a lot to put together. It's going to be a long season for them. I expect them to do pretty well overall. They're not going to win the division, obviously, but they'll compete. They'll compete in games, away on the splits. But I think coming home, Boston had a breakout game the last one out. I think they kind of finally got that lineup. They're going to tweak the lineup. I see Bradley moving up in the lineup as the season goes on. Now he's getting back over there. So I think Boston is in a good spot at home. And I agree with you. I think there's going to be runs here. Do I trust Pivetta? Not 100%, but I do think they're going to score runs. And I know the market's going against with the total coming down. What's the wind like out there, Jimmy? What's going on in Fenway with the wind?
It's blowing out.
It's blowing out.
But sideways out. It's left to right. And it becomes by the end of the game, it moves a little bit further, moves towards center field, but basically it's right field by the end of the game. But 17.8 miles per hour sideways out. And then it goes down to 13.4 by the end of the game.
I don't feel Pivetta is a strong number 2. I figure him to be like a number 3 type guy, in the rotation. So I think we'll see runs here. And I'm gonna go against the market. I'm gonna take the full game over.
All right, let's lock you in with that full game over. We also have action from Dan Bonner here. Dan's on Devers over 1.5 bases minus 115, and Buxton over 1.5 bases at minus 125. There's Ryan Scahill in the house. Great to see.
That guy is so good, Byron Buxton. He's so good, and he's only going to get better.
Yeah, but we had to wait a long time. Yeah, I mean, we had to be very patient with him.
Yeah.
But yes, he is.
Dark horse MVP this year.
Wow, that's why. Okay, so quickly here, I'm gonna line shop for the Big Ragoo. But can you please give me a quick take on Nick Pivetta, Jose?
I love. I was gonna call him Boston Nick. I love Nick Pivetta. I love him so much. The home road split is a concern. I don't know why he struggles at home. Obviously, Fenway Park, your Bandbach offensive park, that might be a reason for it. Maybe it's just, adjusting to your ballpark and your first day. But I do think that there will be some stresses and such going in there, being the opening day starter. And Nick Pivetta is a leader in this Red Sox clubhouse too. So I wouldn't say he's going to go in there, scared or whatever. But I just, the home road splits are obviously concerning for me. He could still have a good start and give up 3 earned runs, say, for example. I think he had a pretty decent start against New York, like you guys said. We just kind of ran into some home run issues in that shitty ballpark. But I like the Twins today. I believe in Joe Ryan. I bet on youth early. I've been betting against the experience of Kluber and those guys, and that's been screwing me. But I hate to break it to everyone, but Nick Pivetta is not a Corey Kluber, not a Justin Verlander, those kind of guys that I bet against and sometimes lose. I think that betting on the youth here is going to be a recipe for success, and that's why I'm also on the Padres later today. But you can catch that on Say Hey Plays, 5:30 Eastern with my guy Dabby Cab today.
Dabby Cab, nice. Dabby Cab, and
who
your
has
record?
a connection to baseball, so he's a great guest.
Yeah,
Yes,
he is a
Dabby.
hell of a guest.
Yeah.
What is your record now at this point?
Thankfully, I had a measly 3-3 day minus some juice yesterday. That brings the record down to a measly, again, 21 units, 33-19 on the year, 63% winning percentage. I've got a shitload of plays. Like I said today, I locked them all last night. I don't think I'm going to add anything this today, but go follow me on Twitter to go see them. And like I said, 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central. Me and Dabby Cab breaking down the whole card, 4:30 Central Time. Going to be a good time. Can't wait.
I love it. I love it. So we have a quick, just before you go, Jose, quickly for our guy Ragoo. Do you want the over 10 at -105 or the over 9.5 at -126?
I'll take the over 9.5.
All right, Ragoo is in over 9.5 at -126. That's available right now at Pinnacle. All right, let's roll. Jose, great job. Good luck with the show today and all your action. Again, Say Hey plays 7 days a week. You can catch it here on Pub Sports Radio, and Dabby Cab, his guest today. And Turnsy says, has Jose grown to be the best capper at Pub Sports? Sammy Comics says Jose is a winning capper. Yes, he certainly is a winning capper.
Got to give him his due. I was on the show with him yesterday. I see the records, like, holy mackerel, you're putting in work, Jose.
Yeah,
I asked him, is that for real, that record? But it was, yeah.
Yeah. He's running hot. And it's great. It's great. So it's going to put money in all of our pockets. And Say Hey, Minnesota, first 5 -1/2 +140. And then Ragoo is on the over at 9.5 at -126. All right, let's move on to 6:35 p.m. Eastern. And I have gone right back to the well with the Pittsburgh Pirates. I've gone right back to the well with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Not only that, but Jose has delivered the goods, not only putting money in our pockets, but also I said we need Helen Mitch Keller, and it's been given to us. There you go. There's Helen Mitch Keller pitching for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
I'll admit, I did not know what Helen Keller looked like until about 20 minutes.
Holy shit.
There we go. And I'm backing her. I am backing Helen Mitch Keller. 4 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 homer, 2 walks, 4 Ks, 6-2 loss at the Cards. Going up against Eric Fetty, 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 2 walks, 5 Ks, and a 4-2 win at home versus the Mets. I have moved and doubled up on sweet Helen Mitch Keller. I am moving, and I got in at -115 on both the full game and the first 5, and they're only giving us the movement of the full game, but it is now up to $-120 on Bet365 for $-110 opener. When we go over to the cash flow in the spot, 14,349 tickets in. That's the Twinkies game. Sorry, my bad. When we go over to the Pittsburgh spot, 5,296 tickets in. 42% of the tickets and 89% of the cash on the Buccos. 47% of tickets, 87% of cash on the under. And that under has gone from 9.5 at -110 to the under to 9.5 at -130 to the under. We're at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Let's take a look at the weather here. We have at first pitch 69 Fahrenheit and blowing out to left, sideways out to left, right to left, 18.2 miles per hour. So heavy, and it dies down throughout the game down to 10.8 by the end of the game. There you go. Quickly, though, Nats versus righties, 211, 585 OPS, not hitting. Pirates versus righties, 272, 758 OPS. How long will that last, you may ask? Nats bullpen being terrible, as expected, 5.40 ERA, 1.69 whip. Pirates bullpen being very good, 2.96 ERA, 1.02 whip. We'll go back to the Big Ragoo to start this off. Take it away, Nats, Bucks.
Nats and the Bucks, man. Well, I want to say that Keller has gone 2-10 and 22 career starts versus at PNC, 2-10, 22 career starts at PNC Park. And I think last out for Fetty, he had a pretty decent start against the Mets in a no decision. And I think we find a little bit of value here in the Pirates getting at the plus, is it +100 is what you got on it? What do you got for a number on Pittsburgh?
No, it's moved.
No, they're favored.
Oh, they favored.
Open up minus 110, and
Small
it's
home
moved to
favorites.
minus 120.
Oh,
but
120. Okay.
Pinnacle will
Right.
be a better example of where they stand right now because Pinnacle's moved to minus 119 on the Buccos.
I mean, I had both of these guys, obviously bottom feeder teams coming in early on, especially with the Nats situation. But I like the pitching matchup. I kind of favor Mitch's spot here with you, and that was an early look on. I usually don't get involved in the bottom teams, but when I find a little bit of value, I think maybe some of that value might have slipped away from me possibly, but I would have to lean. I'm not going to get to the window with it, but I would definitely lean with you on the Pirates side of things. Like, I think they are the better bullpen right now. The righty situation with Pittsburgh, hitting righties a little bit better than the other side right now. So it's a play that I'm not going to probably get to the window with, but I definitely would lean with the Pirates here in this spot.
A lean to the Buccos. Let's hear what Bobano has to say. Nats, Pirates.
Yeah, I'll do better than lean, but I'm going to go with the team total on Pittsburgh, over 4.5 here. You can find that at minus 105 at Pinnacle. Looks like the best price. Over 4.5, minus 105, Pittsburgh Pirates team total. I'm not ready to trust Keller yet. That's why I'm looking at the team total, because he still gave up 4 runs on 6 hits in his first start. He is throwing, like, his velocity's gone up, and that's what everybody was impressed with about Mitch Keller in spring training. That his stuff looked better. There was more pop in it. He was obviously throwing harder in the spring, and now there's hope that translates over into the regular season. Still, though, gave up some hard contact against St. Louis. The Big Ragoo said it, the home record at PNC for him is tough. So I'd rather be in a spot where I'm not banking on Pittsburgh to win the game necessarily, but I'm pretty confident Pittsburgh scores runs. They have scored 15 runs in their last 2 games combined against the Cubs, 9 runs and 6 runs. They're facing Eric Fetty Legrand, as I like to call him. I don't trust him one bit. Over 5 ERA. He was in particular not good on the road last year. Let's keep that in mind as well. And I like the way the Pirates are swinging the ball right now for this team. Like, this team wasn't expected to be a tremendous hitting team, obviously, coming into this season, but 15 runs in the last 2 games. I like what we're seeing. Like, Brian Hayes is off to a phenomenal start. 409 batting average. He's been terrific at the plate. They've gotten some good swings from the likes of Brian Reynolds as well. They bring in a guy that's got power. He strikes out a lot, but Yoshi Tsutsugo, who's with the Rays before, gives them a little bit more of a lengthened lineup as well. So there's things I like about the Pirates lineup. They're probably going to have their games where they don't hit. They're probably going to have a lot of those games, but they're facing a pitcher I don't trust. They're facing a bad bullpen, which you both mentioned. Washington, terrible in terms of their bullpen. They'll give up runs late as well. So I like the Pirates team total. This will be my first official play for the show here. Pirates team total over 4.5, minus 105.
Matty Ice found you a plus 105 over at BetMGM, so we'll give you that. I'm on the Pittsburgh.
And I have BetMGM, so I'm a moron. I should have seen that. Thank you, Matty.
And Razor says Pirates are 1-0 when favored this year. Yes, we cashed on them yesterday, first 5 full game. And I'm going right back to the well. First 5 full game, both at minus 115. Astute Chaos got the team total over 4.5 at minus 102. Best look is at BetMGM at plus 105. All right, we move on. Philadelphia Phillies at Miami Marlins. And this was, I went back and forth on this. Initially, I was going to take the Marlins first 5 minus a half at plus 100. I ended up just taking the first 5 at minus 125 because I do have a fear of a tie, or, in a low scoring game, I do have a fear that I don't want that. Is it worth 25 cents? I hummed and hawed, and I took the Marlins first 5 minus 125. Philadelphia Phillies at Miami Marlins. We're at Lone Depot Park in Miami, Florida. Marlins 1-0 at home this year, 2-4 on the year. Phillies 0-1 on the road. And we were there in person for this very matchup in Miami with all of us. We're there for this very matchup. Zach Eflin, 4 innings, 2 hits, no 1 runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks, and a 4-1 loss at home to the A's. He looked pretty good. And Pablo Lopez looked very good. 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, no homers, 1 walk, 6 Ks, and a 2-1 win of the Giants. And we know what Pablo Lopez can do at home. Phillies versus righties, 244, 678 OPS. Marlins, 223, 685 OPS. Both bullpens have been pretty good. Phillies bullpen, 3.94 ERA, 1.11 whip, while the Marlins bullpen, 3.86 ERA, 1.05 whip. CT Bays is on the over 7.5 tonight. That is CT Bays' look here. Let's take a look at the market movement of this spot. The Marlins opened up at -110 at Bet365 yesterday at 3:25 p.m. and they just take money. At 10:05 this morning, they got up to -130. Now they're back at -125. This total opened up at 8.5, and then within 9 minutes dropped to 7.5. Now that 8.5 was juiced to -125 to the under, but clearly got hammered right away, and it's stuck at 7.5. In fact, 10 minutes after that, so now we're at 3:44 p.m. yesterday, it was -120 to the under at 7.5, and then money came in on the over, and that's where it stands right now. Let's take a look at where the money actually is in this game. We have 7,010 tickets in, 32% of the tickets, 74% of the cash on the under, and 32% of the tickets, 74% of the cash on the Marlins, and 69% of the tickets, 94% of the cash on the over. You'd think that would have moved it to 8. Very, very interesting that is the case here. Take it away, Bobano. Phillies, Marlins.
Did not bet it, but I leaned Miami first 5 in full game, which was something that I looked at yesterday as well with Sandy. Disappointed that I didn't bet it for more than I did. It was a very small bet. I didn't make it official when I was on with Jose yesterday, and sure enough, the Marlins got it done in that game, and I leaned to that direction as well. I think Pablo Lopez is a capable pitcher. His numbers against the Phillies in his career aren't bad at all. Last year, 3.12 ERA against them. Eflin has struggled against the Marlins, 4.75 ERA in his career against Miami, so he's had a tough time. That being said, Eflin was lights out in the spring. He had a pretty good first start. And maybe this is a sign of a guy coming of age a little bit, turning a corner, ready to get his shit together, because we know he's always been one of those fringe arms for the last couple of years. There's always been that hope for Joe Girardi and this Phillies team that Eflin can elevate into a top 2 or 3 starter in the rotation role. Maybe this is the year for Eflin. But the one thing we know about Eflin, too, especially last year and in past years, pretty good in Philly, not so good on the road. Can he change that this year? That's going to be the big question. So I do lean Miami. I do like Lopez. I backed him a few times last year. I lean that way. I lean first 5 under potentially as well in this game, but I'm not going to make anything official.
I get it. So Marlins first 5 for me. Nothing official for Bobano. Let's hear what the Big Ragoo has to say. Phillies, Marlins.
Marlins is one of my teams that I picked for an over a pretty decent number too. Like they got to play 500 ball for me to cash, and I was worried about that 200 winning percentage starting out 1-4. But that West Coast trip, I figured it was going to be rough sledding for them. But these are the type of games that I like to get involved with the Marlins when they come back and they play the division. Any division game is always a tough win. I don't care what division you're in, East, West, American League, National League. So this one of those spots. And Lopez is a guy I like a lot. Eflin, I think, like you said, Ian, he's turning the corner. Girardi's going to get some solid efforts out of this kid here, without a doubt. I think the big struggle for Phillies is where's the MVP's bat? Where's Harper's bat? Harper has yet to kind of step up and hit the ball convincingly to see what he's going to do sooner or later when he has that couple breakout games, but not so much right now. And can he hit Lopez? Absolutely. But I think Lopez is the guy going in. I think it's a good spot. I think we get decent value on the Marlins. I think it's indicative of the number, with the total jumping down. And like you said, big money coming in, but where's the over? Where's the adjustment in the number and the runs here? So I'm going to probably get to the window with you, Jimmy, on this one with the Marlins in the first 5. I'm going to take the +0.5 Marlins and lay the juice.
Let's see what that would be right now. We'll move over to Pinnacle.
Big breaking news, this one. Paul George, out. Health and safety protocols.
Oh,
wow.
Health and safety protocols.
There goes my prop for yesterday's pop-up show, which was Paul George over points and rebounds. Wow.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. God, health and safety protocol is going to do this to us?
Tested positive.
Fucking awful. Awful.
COVID.
So, Ragoo, the juice is very expensive for the Marlins +0.5. It's -172.
Oh no, just give me the money line then.
The money line's minus 120.
Pelicans can absolutely win that game now without Paul George, by the way.
They can, yeah. Oh, that's awfulness. And then the minus a half is plus 115. So minus 123 money line for Ragoo. That's 2 cents better than what I got it at. Let's lock Ragoo in. Ragoo is on the Marlins.
What's the total for the first 5? Also,
the first 5 is, I believe, sitting at 4. It's sitting at 4. The over 4 is at minus 102.
Over 4. What's the team total on Philly?
The first 5 team total on Philly is over 1.5 at minus 122.
Yeah, it's too risky. All right, let me push them under 4 on that one. Also,
under 4. Let me just see what it is for me quickly here. Yeah, so they're offering me the under 3.5 at plus 115. The under 4 at Pinnacle though is minus 112.
That's fine. I'll take that.
If I could bet that, I would. If I was offered to me, I would move on that. First 5 under 4 at minus 112. I like that. And I wonder. Oh, I would have to build it. Interesting. All right, let's go. Yeah, guys. Health and safety protocol. Very disappointing to hear that. Very, very, very disappointing to hear that Paul George is out. That's just. God, I thought we were kind of getting through this. Well, Nate, you'll at least get your George props back.
You know what Thought did? Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to 7:05 p.m. Eastern. New York Yankees at Baltimore Orioles. Yankees 3-3 on the year. Orioles 1-5, 1-2 at home. This is the Yankees' first road game of the year. Camden Yards. We are in Baltimore, Maryland. We have Jordan Montgomery going up against Jordan Lyles. Montgomery, 3 1/3, 4 hits, 3 runs, no homers, 1 walk, 4 Ks in the 4-3 loss at home versus the Red Sox. And Lyles, 5 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, 1 homer, 3 walks, 2 Ks in the 5-3 loss at Tampa. I want to fade Lyles as much as possible, but now he's on this terrible baseball team, and it's going to be tricky. Yankees versus righties, 241, 718 OPS. Orioles versus righties, 205, 608 OPS. Both bullpens have been very good. Yankees bullpen 1.30 ERA, 0.095 whip, while the Orioles bullpen 2.45 ERA, 1.19 whip. We've seen no movement on the Yankees full game. Minus 210 opener at Bet365 hasn't changed. And from a totals perspective, we have seen movement. It is the under that's being bet. 9.5 open at minus 105 to the under. It's now at minus 125 to the under. And my initial thought was to take it the over. So I stopped everything and did not move on it because of that. Let's take a look at the weather quickly here in Yankee Stadium. In Camden. We have out. Wind is out to left center, 13.3 miles per hour, and dips down to 10.2 miles per hour out to left center. Then when we get to the cash flow in this spot, they're saying that there's full line value on 3 spots today. The Orioles being one of them. Orioles, Reds, and A's. I'm already on the A's first 5, but that's what they're saying the line value is at. And we have 14% of the tickets on the Orioles and 39% of the cash on the Orioles. We have 46% of tickets on the under and 95% of cash on the under, which kept me off moving on the over. And we have just the man for the job. Yankees, Orioles, Big Ragoo, take it away.
I think if the action is coming in on the under, I think that bodes well for the O's. Wouldn't you say so? I mean, I know Montgomery, he has gotten some real spotty work against the O's, certain guys in the lineup. He's had some tough outings, but at the same time, this is another example of a team like a bottom team in division that always gives the upper teams fits. And Orioles, in my book, own the Yankees. If you go back and look over history, long history with this squad here, and I don't know. I just think Montgomery's got some issues here. I think he can get touched up. I'm 2-0 with the Yanks this year. Not necessarily big money, but I caught him. I did tell you guys on that friggin' hockey play last night with the Leafs. I went against the Leafs and I lost that. It cost me a little parlay, but I took the Caps. But I had the Yanks minus 1.5 yesterday, and I think this is a good spot for the O's actually playing in Camden where Montgomery has had some struggles. And I think, Lyles, he's 1-0 against the Yanks in the short appearances against him with a 3.12 ERA. So I tend to think maybe the bats will be a little sleepy today. And the big thing with the O's, they've been leaving, I think they're like 5 for 55 with runners in scoring position. So maybe the O's bats wake up against Jordan today and they put some runs on the board. So give me the O's on the big plus number at home against the Yanks.
Wow, let's get you that. And also the team total over 3.5 on the Orioles at minus 115 in my book is appealing. I'm in a line shop for you for the best money line for the Orioles. Take it away, Bobano, Yankees, Orioles.
Yeah, this is an Orioles team that obviously is not hitting. But last year, I keep going back to the fact that last year I really liked this team against lefties. They hit well last year against lefties. Their team OPS was 749 against lefty pitching, significantly better than their splits against righties last year. However, so far this year, this team is hitting a paltry 192 as a team batting average-wise against lefties and 1.69 runs per game. So what gives here so far this season that we've seen the Orioles struggle to this degree against lefty pitching? Well, you look at it so far this year, they faced obviously McClanahan, lefty from the Rays. They faced Eric Lauer, lefty from the Brewers. He did do a little bit better, though, in that particular game against Lauer. They got a little damage done against him. 4 runs, 3 hits, 4.1 innings. And that's what I'm thinking the Orioles, as the season goes on, they're going to be able to hit lefties. Because let's be honest, this is very similar to the same lineup last year that hit 750 OPS against lefties. It was very good against them, or at least much better. You've still got Mullins, you've still got Mountcastle, you've still got Santander. You've got most of the same guys that were there last year that hit lefties well. So I think they could do enough runs here against Montgomery, who kind of labored in his first start. And Montgomery's kind of struggled at times in the past against the Orioles as well. And on the flip side, I don't need to say anything more about Jordan Lyles. He stinks. He's terrible. He didn't have a good first start. He's going up against a murderer's row lineup here in the Yankees that has actually a very good track record. Collectively, the current Yankees lineup is hitting 314 against Jordan Lyles. So people can be betting the under all they want. I don't care one bit. I'm going against that. I like the over here. Over 9, I think the best number right now looks to be around minus 115. See if I can find a little bit cheaper than that. I'm just going to look at a couple places right now. But I'm going to go ahead with that. Yankees and Orioles over 9.
Yeah, I'm just seeing minus 118. So if you can find the minus 115, that is the best that we can find.
It is. I knew I saw it 115. I'm trying to see it. Yeah, Caesars. There you go. Caesars has minus 115.
And very, very interesting. Extremely, extremely interesting. And it was what I wanted to do, but the cash on the under took me off of it. And I feel like, God, you're right. How could Lyles get through this lineup? How could there be money coming in on the under? Joe Yurkovich is on the Orioles. First 3 team total over 1 at plus 110. That's very interesting. Look, Joe. All right, and BetDSI also has that minus 115. So the Big Ragoo is on the Orioles at plus 187. I found that at Pinnacle. If anybody could beat that, let me know. Bobano's on the over 9 at minus 115. And I'm thinking of moving on the Orioles team total over 3.5.
Put me down for that too, Jim. Over to 3.5. I like that.
Yeah, you want to move on that as well?
Yeah, I'm going to double up on that one. That's
Orioles.
a lot of action early for me, man. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3.
Let's see
5.
what I can get you.
I'm like Jose.
Yeah, I can get that. I can get you down to minus 108 on that at Pinnacle. It's minus 115 for me, but
yeah, that'll be a backup.
And Orioles team total over 3.5 at minus 108. That's available right now at Pinnacle. All right, and Christian Larson says, has Vegas caught up to the adjusted left field wall at Camden? That's a very interesting angle that I haven't thought about enough. Interesting. Jojo Rich leaning to the Yankees first 5, but it's a pass. And Triple K Marine, whom we got to hang out with in Miami, says the Triple K Marine barn burner of the night. Baltimore plus 4.5. Cincinnati plus 4.5 is at minus 140. Wow. All right. And Jose saying that is a good point. Yeah, it has changed things. All right, and the lines dropped to 1.5 on the Clippers game now. Wow, that's just, I hate that. All right, we moved to 7:07 p.m. Eastern. This is perfect. We got Ragoo to open up the Yankees game, and we will have Bobano to open up the Jays game. Athletics 4-3, all 7 games have been on the road. At the Jays, 4-2, 2-1 at home. We're at the Rogers Center in Toronto, Ontario. We have Dalton Jeffries going up against Ross Stripling, whom I don't trust at all. Dalton Jeffries, 5 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 2 Ks, and a 4-1 win at the Phillies. He looked good. Stripling this will be his first start of the year. He's come out of the bullpen twice. He's done 2 innings, 1 hit, 2 earned runs, no homers, 3 walks, 0 Ks. A's versus righties, 226.94 OPS. Blue Jays versus righties, 242, 757 OPS. A's bullpen has been good, 3.29 ERA, 1.39 whip. The Blue Jays bullpen, 3.62 ERA, 1.08 whip. Let's see the market movement. And I have already moved on the A's first 5. Again, this was at first I was going to take the A's first 5 plus a half at -110. And then I decided that there was enough volatility with Stripling on the mound to take the +150 on the money line. That's what I did. I took the first 5 +150 on the money line. Bet365 opened the A's at +175. This morning at 8:22 a.m., they moved it to +165, so a 10-cent move towards them. This total was initially juiced to the over 9.5 -115. Now it is a pick'em. And this lineup sure looks less scary without Teoscar Hernandez in the middle of it. Silver Slugger the last 2 years. And let's take a look at the action, or where the cash lies in this spot. We have 7,931 tickets in. Listen to this. 43% of the tickets, 87% of the cash on the Oakland A's. 43% of tickets, 85% of the cash on the under as well, which is fascinating. Take it away here, Bobano. A's, Jays.
Yeah, don't tell us we stink. That's what the Oakland Athletics have basically said the last several games. Don't tell us we're a rebuilding team that's going to be one of the worst in baseball this year. I mean, very impressive. Excuse me. God damn it. Throat acting up. But 4 of the last 5 games they've won. How about taking 3 of 4 in Tampa at the Trop against the Rays? Very impressive from this Oakland Athletics team. Jeffries was good in Philly. Supposed to be a pretty good Phillies lineup. He neutralized them in 5 innings. Very impressive stuff. Let's see if he can do it again here in this game. That's a big question mark for me going into it. I don't hate anybody taking a position on Oakland first 5 full game split. I did that once in the Tampa series, and I was disappointed I didn't go back to the well another time or two, but I did cash at least once with the Oakland at a big plus price first 5 in full game against Tampa. I'm certainly not laying 200 with Ross Stripling. There's no way. He was struggled in his starts last year. When he was a starter last year, it wasn't good. 9 ERA, is what he had last year in the starting role. Now he's going to be obviously stretched out a little bit because of some of the pitcher injuries. You mentioned it. Teoscar Hernandez is a big absence. But I do think the Jays will hit a little bit better today. One thing we're already seeing with the Jays, and they get shut down in one game, usually they respond in the next game. Remember, they got shut out in Yankee Stadium earlier this week. What did they do the next game? They responded with 6 runs. This is a lineup that's good enough where I like them in bounce back spots. I like this offense to produce when they get shut down in the previous game. I think that's going to be something you could routinely bet this year with success. This Jays team to score when they get shut down in the previous game. And like I say, Jeffries is still a young kid. We saw the Jays have no problem putting up runs in the opening series they played at Rogers Center against Texas. So I lean to the Oakland side, but my official play is going to be over here, 9.5. I think we're going to see runs. Oakland's swinging it right now. Oakland's offense is feeling it. They've put up big runs in bunches. The last several games, they put up 6 against Tampa, 4 against Tampa, 8, 13. In fact, in all but one game this year, Oakland, in all but one game this year, has scored at least 4 runs. So this has been a very capable lineup. You're getting your Seth Browns and your Sean Murphys and guys like that have stepped up for them. So I like this game to get to double digits, over 9.5 for me.
Over 9.5. Now that's at plus 101 or plus 100. It just moved to plus 100. So the over 9's at minus 127 at Pinnacle. Would you prefer no vig, or would you prefer the opportunity to push in a 9-run game?
Yeah, to get down to a 9, I'll lay the extra juice because 4-4 common score. Maybe you get it to extra innings, it ends 5-4, and at least with the 9 you get a push. So I'll take the juice, minus 127 over 9.
over 9 at -127. And big shout out to Randy Randalls. Nut Flush Allen, whom we love dearly, has brought in a friend, Randy Randalls, in the chat. Thank you for joining us, Randy Randalls. I can tell you we'll sell you nothing, ever. We just want to win with you. We just want to get that cash and defeat the juice. Let's head over to the Big Ragoo. A's, Jays.
Hey, Jimmy, what has that number done on the total what Ian was bringing on with his over 9?
Well, the cash is all on the under. 43% of the tickets and 85% of the cash is on the under. And at Bet365, the over opened up at -115, and it's now a pick 'em.
Yeah, well, I tend to agree with Ian because I think Toronto will respond and hit the ball with the young pitcher here with Jeffries. The no looks. If he was a veteran and hasn't faced him, I would say maybe he's got a little savvy to him. But there's a lot of even with the lineup, the slight lineup change with Toronto, I think they'll still be okay to respond and score some runs here. But my son, when we were doing the future show with we gave some looks, with you in the studio and Jose, my son chastised me. I mean, he beat the shit out of me for taking the over 71 games with the A's. Now, I'm not going to say, they're not hitting the ball because they got to hit the ball. That's the hardest thing to do in sports, hit a baseball, right? No matter who's throwing. I don't care if me and you were throwing, it's still hard to hit a baseball. But at the same time, you got to give them all the respect. But the Rays lineup, I'm got some concern. I'm not going to jump ahead a little bit, but the Rays, they're 3 deep in injuries in their rotation now. So I'm not going to say, it's an arbitration for them to get the luck of the draw to play the Rays early on, but, still got to go out there and hit the baseball. So, in respect to the A's for what they're doing, first-year coach, your Katse, manager, I think he's going to do a good job for them over there. But I do like the Jays lineup. I think I see some vulnerability here, possibly with the young arm coming in against that talented lineup. I think the market's kind of moved the other way with the Jays. People are kind of saying, hey, the A's are the hot team. There are always going to be 1 or 2 teams at a gate that are probably going to fade later on. I think the A's are one of these teams right now. But I do like the Jays. I'm not going to get to the window because I got too much action on the other stuff. But this is a spot I would lean very, very strong to the J side, with a -1.5 runs on the run line here. I think the Jays will respond in this spot here. Pitching wise, on the Jays arm, Stripling, he's got a 9 ERA. He's a seasoned vet. He's going to come up against some of the younger guys on the other side with the A's. Like you say, they are free swinging. The thing about the A's, though, they've had good support out of the bullpen. So that their bullpen's held up pretty well so far this season against decent teams. So maybe this is the game. This is the day that they get touched up for some runs. And I tend to lean with Ian. If you like the Jays, you gotta love the over. So I think that correlates.
Are you making anything official here on this spot?
No official play for me on this game.
All right. So we have Bobano on the over 9 at -127. I'm on the A's first 5 at +150. I would have interest in the A's team total over if I could get it at 3.5. It's at 4.5. Right now, if I wanted it at 3.5, it'd be -155. So obviously not going to mess with that. I guess I could turn that into a 4. What would that cost me? Let me just quickly see what it would cost me if I turn that into a 4. That being a -155 and a +115. Ooh, -119. But then I need 5 runs for me to cash. Okay, I'll think on that. Just leave a little note there for me. Over. Okay. All right. We move on to 7:10 p.m. Eastern. San Francisco Giants at Cleveland Guardians. Giants 4-2. 0-0 on the road to the Cleveland Guardians 4-2. This is the home opener at Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio. And by the way, Puzzler leaning towards the under in that Jays game, and he watches this team very, very closely. We have Carlos Rodon going up against Zach Plesac. Rodon, 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, no homers, 2 walks, 12 Ks, and a 2-1 loss at home to the Marlins. Plesac, 5 2/3, 3 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 3 Ks, and a 1-0 extra inning loss at Kansas City. Both pitchers getting off to great starts, and both teams hitting. Giants versus righties, 260, 776 OPS, but no one can touch these Guardians. First lefties, 324, 993 OPS. CT Bay says Guardians a plus 130, 44 runs in the last 4 games, and I'm going to keep riding the streak. Sean Thompson says, on my card, the Guardians at plus 126. And by the way, Joe Yurkovich has the Jays to have more hits than the A's at minus 125 at Joe Yurkovich. Look, keep an eye on what Joe does. I mean, all these cappers are so strong, but I've been working with Joe since I started. Sharp dude. Eric Jones also on Cleveland at plus 130. And there's Ryan Kozlowski. Yes, we spoke a lot about Mike Bossy off the top of the show, and we lost a good one. We lost a very, very, very good one. Giants bullpen 2.74 ERA, 1.17 WHIP, while the Guardians bullpen 3.96 ERA, 1.04 WHIP. Let's just take a quick look at the market movement here at Bet365, and then go towards the cash. And sorry, it's taking a second to move over. Here we go. The no movement on the money line. This came out yesterday at 3:35 p.m. at Bet365. No movement, but a ton of movement on the total. Opening up at 8.5, minus 115 to the under. It went to minus 120 by 1:30 in the morning, 125 by 7 in the morning, and then it dropped down to 7.5. So it's dropped down that full run, and now it's a pick'em at 7.5. When we go over to the cash flow in this spot, we have 6,746 tickets in. 45% of the tickets, 52% of the cash on the Giants, so basically a coin flip. And then 39% of the tickets, 63% of the cash on the under. And finally, when we go to the weather in Cleveland, we have 57 Fahrenheit at first pitch, and the weather is blowing in. 8.3 miles per hour at first pitch, but it drops to 3.9 within an hour, so it becomes pretty uneventful. Big Ragoo, we start with you, Giants, Guardians.
Rodon, he knows these guys pretty well. You know, he's pitched against them over the years. He's had some pretty decent success, actually, against the guys that have started in this lineup. So that was my first take. And then, of course, Plesac, you know, he's a seasoned vet. He's doing pretty well this year so far. So a lot of early looks here on the pitching side. I was thinking, and the value, I think, I don't want to say value, but I think the surprise is the rookie that Cleveland's got, Steven Kwan. He's been red hot, tearing the cover off the ball. You know, he's hitting like 526. And do they keep that going? He's been a big part of that success here. But I think this will be a type of game that sets up for a nice little under spot. That's something I wanted to get involved in when I seen the pitchers. Even though Cleveland has been you know, hitting the ball pretty well, but I think Rodon is the big difference maker here. And I think he's going to kind of come in there and kind of nullify some of the hot bats that Cleveland's had. But I mean, he has like a 2.9 overall ERA versus them, you know, against Cleveland. So I would look to take the first 5 under in this spot here. I was thinking about maybe leaning Frisco on the reverse run line, not reverse run line, to minus 1.5, but I said probably the better play because, you know, Cleveland's got the hot bats, and I didn't really want to get too cute there. But I think we'll see a good pitching effort from both pitchers here. I'm looking at taking the first 5 under in this spot.
The first 5 under 4 is at minus 120. It's at minus 120 at Pinnacle. If I wanted in, I'm sure they're offering me a 3.5 here, and let's check this quickly. And they're offering me a 3.5 at plus 105. Obviously, I could pay. I wonder what it would let me just quickly see what it would cost to move up to a 4 on the team total. I'll look that up here. Sorry, right now, just want to know if I wanted to move that. Okay, I'll do that here in a second. It's going to take me a second. Let's move over to Bobano. We have Big Ragoo on the first 5 under 4 at minus 120, and Ixchnizzle in the land right now, agreeing with that look. Take it away, Bobano.
Yeah, I'm going to do Cleveland here, first 5 full game split. We'll split it up with both of them. I like doing that, especially Cleveland's bullpen's actually kind of been better than I thought, but I don't know. San Francisco's bullpen's been very good. So that's why I would rather have this split between first 5 and full game than put it all on the full game. But, yeah, I do like Cleveland here. I do think there's some value. I think you can get plus 145 at Bet Online with the first 5 Cleveland, and then the full game is around plus 135 at Win Sportsbook. So there you go. Those are the best prices. Plus 145 that I see anyway. First 5 and plus 135 for the full game. I think Plesac could be bet on pitcher for Cleveland. He had a nice first start against Kansas City. And the one thing that concerns me about Rodon, Cleveland's seen him a lot from the Chicago White Sox days. They should have a good idea of what to expect. I think if you can find some total base props or anything with Kwan, by the way, Kwan's a San Francisco native. Right. So I think he's even a little bit more fired up here today to start this series against the Giants. So I think if you find total base props with Stephen Kwan, it's definitely something to consider. But, I think Rodon, when you look at it, Cleveland's mashing lefties, by the way. We should point that out. They've had a really strong start to the year against – it's not the Cleveland Guardians team that, years ago, I remember they couldn't hit their way out of a wet paper bag against lefty pitching. And now all of a sudden, look what they're doing this year. It's a completely different offense to start the year. Are they going to level off at some point? I think so. But, hey, until they do, you're getting a good price. You're getting them in their home opener as well. A lot of teams are fired up for a spot like this. So I like it here with Cleveland. A little first 5 and full game money line split. The first 5 plus 145 and the full game plus 135.
All right. You are locked in, Bobano. Let's just do this here. And Bobano and Ragoo. Okay. Locked in. And the same with Ragoo. So we got both you guys in action. Ragoo on the first 5 under 4 at minus 120. And Bobano on the Guardians, first 5 plus 145. Full game at plus 135. There we go. Kenny and Cab says, I know we don't say do, but Cleveland flat out cannot keep scoring the way they have been. It just scares me to go with them or against them because it's not realistic. Not realistic. And we have Teflon Don saying, like Cleveland bats, nice call on the looks versus Rodon. There's Joshua Chipman in the house. He's got a big play on the Mets minus 1.5. You'll be happy to know that is also the taint play of the day. Joe Yurkovich saying, I think the day off will hurt Cleveland's offense here. There's my guy Slow Jams Arsenal in the house. All right, let's roll on. We have Tampa Bay Rays 4-3. First road game of the year at the Chicago White Sox, 4-2, 2-1 at home at Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago, Illinois. Let's see what we were dealing with from a weather perspective. 11.5 miles per hour out to left field, but that dies down throughout the game. Within an hour, it's at 8. By the end of the game, we hit 3.4 miles per hour. We have Drew Rasmussen going up against Dylan Cease. Rasmussen, 4 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 1 walk, 3 Ks, and a 5-3 win at home versus Baltimore. Well, Cease went 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, no homers, 3 walks, 8 Ks, and a 5-2 win at Detroit. The Rays are hitting righties hard enough. 258, 768 OPS, while the White Sox are not hitting righties at all. 201, 554 OPS. Rays bullpen is being good, 3.76 ERA, 1.13 WHIP, while the White Sox bullpen is also being good, 3.14 ERA, 1.36 WHIP. When we go quickly to the market moves in this spot, we have money coming in on, the market moving towards the Rays is what I should say. Yesterday, 3:35 p.m., it opened at plus 120. By 10:34 this morning, it was at plus 115. And as of 2 minutes ago, it moved to plus 110 at bet 365. This total has been getting bet heavy towards the under. It opened under 8.5 at plus 100, and it's gone to minus 110 to minus 115. And this morning at 8:40 in the morning, it moved to minus 125. When we go over to the cash flow in this spot, we have 9,066 tickets in, 41% of the tickets, 53% of the cash on the Rays, and 68% of tickets, 68% cash on the over. So interesting that it's gone to the under. There's our guy Big Show picks in the house. All right, let's get to work on this spot. We start with Bobano, and I moved on the first 5 under 4.5 at minus 120. I moved on that this morning. Take it away, Bobano. Rays, White Sox.
Yeah, I mean, Cease and the White Sox at home, I'm not really interested in betting against them all that much. They lost the finale against Seattle 5-1, but they took 2 of 3 in that series, took 2 of 3 against Detroit. We'll see how Rasmussen does here for the Rays in this one. Kind of struggled a little bit in his opening start of the year. Against the Orioles, 2 runs, 3 hits, 4 innings. It wasn't economical, labored in every inning. Not something I'm overly rushing in. And look, Tampa Bay, I do feel Tampa Bay getting on the road here against Chicago. They didn't like the way, obviously, they ended the series. And sometimes I see this. This is what's I lean White Sox, I do. But, and because Cease was very good, I thought, in his first start, and I think he's going to be someone you can look to back. But oftentimes when you have really good teams, and Tampa's still a really good team, obviously they didn't have a great series against Oakland, but you lose 3 of 4 in that series, including the last 2. You go on the road, and often that's a good bet on spot, when you've been slumping a little bit and you're a pretty good baseball team. And I could see Tampa Bay really playing better here tonight in this game against the White Sox. But I think I favor Cease over Rasmussen in this starting pitching matchup. So conflicting sides for me. I like the spot for Tampa. I don't like the pitching matchup for Tampa. So I lean White Sox, but it won't be a play for me.
All right, we have a lean towards the White Sox, but no play for Bobano. Let's see how Ragoo's handling this spot. Rays, White Sox.
I agree with Ian all the way up to the pitching matchup. I think Rasmussen is going to be one of their top guys, early in the season. I mean, he's had great success coming back from Tommy John's last year. I think this is, if I read correctly, this is like his 12th career start without a loss, possibly, if they able to pull this game out. And Tampa, still has a lineup to make to score some runs. And I'm getting a nice plus number here with the Rays on the road. White Sox, I'm not going to argue the case that Cease, 8 Ks 1-0 with a 1.8 early on, but I think Tampa presents a little bit of value here. So this is strictly on value play for me. With Rasmussen's numbers and the Rays, being who they are against a real tough opponent, with Dylan Cease on the road. I'm just gonna be strictly value play for me with the Rays at the plus number.
And you are getting a plus 120 at Pinnacle right now.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of pluses on my sheet. I think I have 0 pluses. Well, I got the O's. I'm sorry, I got the O's plus. So
yeah,
this is going to be American League East plus number for me. Give me the Rays plus the 127.
Oh, you found it at 127?
Yeah. What do you got?
I have 120, but we'll see.
No, 120. No, 120 is good. Give me that. I had an early number 127. I'm looking at my sheet.
Okay.
So give me the 120.
Plus 120. Eric Nisbet, terrible news in the association. Paul George, COVID protocols will not be in the playing game. Tested positive for COVID in the biggest game of the year. So sucks. All right.
Not the old, I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is from Darryl on the Pub Hub yesterday regarding the Clippers. I wonder if he still feels that way.
Well, he'll be on the show. So
we'll find out.
I believe he'll be nonplussed.
Yeah.
I'm on the first 5 under 4.5 at minus 120. Ragoo's on the Rays at plus 120. And we move on to Angels, Texas Rangers, Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. Angels 3-3 have yet to play a road. Oh, that's not true. Sorry, they played last night. So, sorry that I guess I set these records up before that game was over. So the Angels are then 3-4, 0-1 on the road, while the Rangers are 2-4, 1-2 at home. We're at Globe Life Field, Arlington, Texas. Reed Detmers. We get another chance to look at Reed Detmers. 4 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 homers, 2 walks, 3 Ks, and a 13-6 loss at home versus the Astros. And it looks like it's a bullpen day for the Rangers with Matt Bush starting. He is not started. He's been out of the bullpen twice this year. 2 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, no earned runs, no walks, 1 K. Both teams are raking. Angels versus righties 267 with an 815 OPS. Rangers versus lefties smashing 327 with a 1.078 OPS. What a difference a year makes. Mike M says, hammered that Texas first 5 in full game last night. I don't see why it can't happen again. Angels bullpen 6.30 ERA, 1.30 whip have been atrocious. And the Rangers bullpen 4.30 ERA, 1.23 whip. Sean Thompson says the Rangers are on his card. Let's take a look at the market movement in this spot at Bet365. No movement. Angels opened up at minus 120 favorites. That opened at 8:31 this morning. And from a total perspective, it opened at 10.5 at 8:31 this morning. And at 9:56, it moved up to 10.5. But that 10.5 is juiced heavily to the under at minus 130. Minus 130. Let's take a look at the cash flow in this spot. We have 53% of the cash. 53% of the tickets and 84% of the cash on the Rangers, and then 61% of the tickets, 67% of the cash on the under. Yeah, it's gone from 10 to 10.5. This one is tricky, and I have not moved on it. Let's hear what the Big Ragoo has to say. Angels, Rangers.
Like you said, a bullpen game for Texas. I think he's faced these guys a bunch, 14 times. He's 1-0 with a 2.57 in 14 innings. So 14 times, like an inning out each time, basically on average, with a 2.57 ERA. So what's going to be the long-term effect? Rendon struggling a little bit with the bat, for the Angels, and I don't think it's going to be a big concern long term. Two big contracts with Ohtani, Trout, and Rendon, so they're gonna get their licks on this guy, I think. But it's a game that I'm not going to really take interest in right from the get go. I think I would have to lean with the Angels in this spot. Maybe a team total over Rangers. I don't have a big play on this game at all.
Kyle Henley has dropped a $10 dono and says Jose is a disgrace to Sox Nation. See you at Fenway today.
I tried to shame him early on, my friend. I tried to shame him.
Oh, that's funny. Kyle on his way to the home opener at Fenway. Kyle, have an incredible day, man. Enjoy every second of it. What a treat it is to be at the home opener in that incredible stadium you guys have.
Hey, you got to tell him one thing. At least he's not a homer for sure, right?
Hey, yeah. Jose. Look, Jose just focusing on getting that cash.
Hey, I took the Orioles.
Yeah, no, I love that stuff.
I took five. I did not take them full game.
Oh, that's your out.
Alone.
That's your out.
Yeah, I took the A's first 5 against the Jays. Man, okay. So this is a tricky game with Reed Detmers going up against a bullpen game with the Rangers. Let's hear what Bobano has to say. Angels, Rangers.
Well, he might find it at some point, Reed Detmers, but all I've heard from people and from Joe Madden even is this guy's got great stuff, and yada, 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 and all this, and we're still waiting for him to put it together, and it wasn't necessarily a great start for him in the first start against the Astros. Kind of labored, gave up a couple of home runs. So until I see a turnaround or him finding it, Detmers is bet against for me until he finds it. He still hasn't. And, of course, he had a 7 ERA at the major league level with the Angels last year. So I'm not trusting him tonight against Texas. Texas is mashing lefties, by the way. They faced 2 lefties this year, Hyunjin Ryu from the Blue Jays and Austin Gomber, and they crushed both of them. And they've been hitting lefties pretty good. So I think they can score some runs. It's going to be a bullpen night for the Rangers led by Matt Bush, who, by the way, doesn't have great numbers to start this season either. I was mad I didn't take the over last night. I'm not going to make that same mistake tonight. I think it'll be another high-scoring affair, and I am on over 10.
Over 10. Yeah, I wonder if I'm leaving money on the table, not backing the Rangers bats against the lefty, at least early on. These games have so much volatility when these two teams play this year's Rangers. Over 10 at -109 is available right now at Pinnacle for Bobano. Let's lock that in. I mean, if you had a free bet on a first 5 or a full game, sides only, $500, what would it be, Bobano?
On a side? Wow. That's tricky here. Texas, but not with much conviction.
All right, let's move on. We have an official pick from Bobano, over 10 -109. Ragoo and I are off this spot. Let's move on to Detroit Tigers, 2-4, 0-0 on the road at Kansas City Royals, 2-3, 2-2 at home at Kauffman Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri. It was tough watching the Tigers pull that out and knowing that I was not on them because Casey Mize is someone I love and I love backing. So it sucked watching them take care of business without me backing them. We have the first pitch, 60 Fahrenheit, 13.6 miles per hour in, moves to 12.2. So it's a heavy wind coming in. Let's take a look at the market movement here in this spot with the Royals. We have a very slight 5-cent move towards the Tigers. They opened up at +115 yesterday at 5. At 1:30 in the morning, they moved to +110. The total opened up at -120 to the over. It's now +105 to the over. So there's been a 25-cent move to the under, and it's likely weather related. Kyle Hintley said missed Mets pick. Yes, the taint play of the day is on the Mets -1.5. That is taint, and that's it. Neither the three of us did not move on that game, but taint is on it, and taint also liking the team total over. But the play of the day is on the -1.5. for the Metropolitans. Okay, we have Tigers, Royals here. Tariq Skubal, another pitcher who I love and made a ton of money off in the second half of last year. 4 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, 4 of which were earned, 0 homers, 1 walk, 3 Ks, and a 10-1 loss at home versus the White Sox. Did not look good, but the White Sox smashed lefties, and we know that he's on a 75 pitch count until May. Brad Keller on the other side. 6 innings, 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 Ks, and a 1-0 extra inning victory at home versus the Canadiens. And don't get Brad Keller mixed up with Mitch Keller. Two different pitchers.
Yeah.
2 different pitchers.
They both sucked last year, but I think both could be better this year.
Keller, 6 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 5 Ks, and a 1-0 extra inning victory at home versus the Indians. He looked very good to start the year for the Royals. Tigers versus righties, 194 average, 599 OPS, not hitting them. Royals versus lefties, 158, 554 OPS, not hitting them either. Tigers bullpen has been good, 3.30 ERA, 1.20 whip. Royals bullpen, 6.67 ERA, 1.70 whip have looked atrocious. So let's see where the cash lies in this spot. We have 48% of the tickets, 68% of the cash on the Detroit Tigers, while 38% of tickets and 53% cash is on the under here. Bobano, take it away. Tigers, Royals.
Looks like a stone cold no-run first inning or first 5 under in this game. I'm not taking either because I'm brutal with unders. I don't like unders, and I don't have a great track record with them. So none of these will be official, but it does make sense. I think Brad Keller could be actually someone to bet on. I was impressed in that first start. They said a lot of good things about the adjustments he's made in spring. And in that first start against Cleveland, it looked that way. And I still have thoughts that Skubal is going to be a bet-on pitcher the rest of the season as well. I mean, he looked good in the spring. Wasn't a great outing. He said his changeup let him down in that game against the White Sox over the weekend. He said, that's a pitch I rely on. I throw it a lot. And it just wasn't hitting its spots. It wasn't hitting the right location against the White Sox. And as you guys know, when you miss your spots and you miss your location against a pretty damn good lineup like the White Sox, they're going to make you pay for it. So I think they're correctable issues for Skubal in this one. Looks like Javi Baez is going to be out again for the Tigers. He's missed the last 2 games due to injury, and that's a big bat, obviously, out of their lineup, and defender as well, for that matter. I was on Detroit yesterday. They got it done for me. Well, actually, they pushed the first 5, but I cashed with the full game with them in that 4-2 win. I like Keller, though. So I was initially leaning Detroit, but I think Keller could have some bet-on potential as well. So that's why I'm leaning more toward no-run first inning. I think that could be worth a look, as well as the first 5 under 4.
Yeah, under 4, I would have to build it myself, but I could build that at almost an even money spot. The under 4.5 has moved. First 5 under 4.5 has moved to minus 135, which I will not bet. But that 4 does seem very interesting. So I'm going to put some question marks there. And I like it. I like that breakdown. I think I'm in. Let's hear what the Big Ragoo has to say about this spot. Tigers, Royals.
I don't think much separates these two teams. Offensively, I would have to give the lean probably towards the Royals bats in this particular spot. But I think if Detroit was hitting a little bit better, I think they've had some moderate success against Keller over the long term. So it's not a spot that I'm going to get involved with right off the bat. I think Ian's probably got the right look, because of the way Detroit's hitting the ball currently. So it's not a spot that I would, but past, present moment in time, because of Detroit's bats, I think they're a little quiet. But here's an interesting note: as the Royals are 6-1 in their last Friday games, and Scuba's 0-5 in his last Friday game. So take that for what it's worth.
I think I'm sold. No official picks from our experts, but I think I'm going to move on that under 4, and
that's probably the right look.
Build it myself. I really like that. Like the idea. I think everything works with it. Okay, let's move on. Next up, we have the Cardinals Brewers meeting up, and this one is another I love when these two teams meet up as well. 3-2 are the Cards. 0-1 on the road at the Brewers. 4-3, 1-0 at home at American Family Field in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We have Miles Michaelis, 3 2/3, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, no homers, 2 walks, 1 K, and a 6-2 win at home versus the Pirates. Going up against Freddie Peralta, 4 innings, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 homer, 4 walks, 6 Ks, and a 5-4 win at the Cubs. And I took heat for at the beginning of the year last year, saying that Peralta's an ace, could be the ace of the staff and all that stuff, and took heat, and then he made me a lot of money, and people jumped on. There's my guy Rez Mob in the house. By the way, I got to watch Marley, half of Brothers and Bets, on the Kenny and Dab and Kenny show yesterday, and I loved it. Great capper, great guy, and wanted to see a lot more of Marley on camera. Cubs versus righties, 226, 695 OPS. Brewers versus righties, 229, 700 OPS. The Cards bullpen, 1.96 ERA, 1 WHIP, being very good, and the Brewers bullpen being very good as well, as expected. 2.30 ERA, 1.28 WHIP. Let's start with the market move here. Let's start with the market in this spot. We have the Cards opening up yesterday at 3:30 at plus 130. At 1:30 in the morning, they went to plus 135. So a 5-cent move towards the Cardinals. Again, these are Bet365 market moves. This total opened up at 8.5, juice to the under. At 8:30 in the morning, it moved 10 cents to the over, and then at 10:05 it came back. So it's right where it started. Minus 115 to the under, juice to the under. So let's see if the money agrees with that in this Cards Brewers spot. We have 39% of the tickets on the Brewers and 51% of the cash on the Milwaukee Brewers and Peralta. 67% of tickets on the under, 81% of cash on the under. Michaelis on the road. Let's hear what Ragoo has to say. Cardinals Brewers.
This is a classic central battle. The Brewers, like you said, they're this Peralta can make a case for the ace, without a doubt. He's got the experience, and Mikolas is a top tier type pitcher also. But they both had rough starts early on. It's a game that it's kind of like towards my top end of where I like to lay money. If I'm going to play it like straight up on a money line type scenario. But I think there might be a little bit of value on the plus number. But I was thinking the way I pegged this game, I got it like as a 1-run game. It's probably going to be like a 5-4 type game. What's the number on the plus 1.5?
Let's get you that number on the plus 1.5 for these Cardinals. This is taking me a second here. Oh, sorry. I had it right there. It's expensive. Minus 145. But we could build you a 1 at pretty much even money.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's going to be a 1, so I'll be, shoot myself in the foot for that matter. But I think both pitchers can be hit, and I always have bad luck with these friggin' Cardinals. I've said that before when I'm on the show. So I think I'm going to probably stay off of this game. And then the totals, I think, is right where it needs to be. So if I had a decent number, like if I get minus 120 for a plus 1.5, I would do it. But I'm probably going to just lay off of this game totally. Just sit back and watch. Maybe both these pitchers kind of make an adjustment here to kind of get back on track. We know, like I said, Milwaukee's had some rough starts with their top tier rotation, and we'll see. I would probably have to say I'd probably lean Milwaukee, but not with the number. What's the current number on the game? Minus what?
The current number is minus up. Well, it depends where you shop. I was just going to give you the.
What's the number on the Brewers? Minus
151 at Pinnacle, minus 155 at Bet365.
Yeah. I'm going to say pass for me on this spot.
All right, let's hear what Bobano has to say. Cardinals Brewers.
Yeah, it's a pass for me. I lean Milwaukee, though. I do. I think Peralta, to me, is the starter I like a little bit better than Michaelis. I mean, Michaelis now has had back-to-back seasons over 4 ERA, struggled in his first start, more walks than strikeouts. He's not exactly – and remember, this is a guy that's now, the odometer is moving on this guy. We're talking about a guy that's now, in terms of his age, he's, 34, I believe now. I mean, it's not exactly someone that I prognosticate for long-term success. Whereas Peralta – he didn't have a good first start against the Cubs, but in Wrigley, now you're back home. And he was pretty good at Miller Park last year. He's a very good pitcher in that home ballpark. A lot of his issues were walk and command and control getting away from him. And we've seen pitchers already in their second start after having those issues in the first start really improve in that regard. Barrios sticks out for me earlier this week against Toronto. He couldn't find the plate. He was walking guys in his first start against Texas, and he was a lot better. Corrected a lot of those issues against the Yankees. I think Peralta's capable of doing the same. But this Milwaukee lineup, it's just so hit or miss. I mean, some games you're seeing them put up runs, and then there's other games that just can barely scratch a run or two across. So minus 150 is just not the right price for me to take Milwaukee. I lean with them, but I don't like the price enough to bet it.
I agree, and I've stayed off of this spot as well. Let's move on to 8:40 p.m. Eastern. We have the Chicago Cubs 3-2, 1-1 on the road to the Colorado Rockies, 4-1, 2-1. Oh, I guess that's before the loss yesterday. Sorry, I do these records. So 3-3. Sorry, the Cubs are then 4-2, 2-1 on the road, while the Rockies are 4-2, 2-2 at home. We're Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. Marcus Stroman going up against Germán Marquez. And I moved on the Rockies -1 at +111. And the Rockies opened up at -135. They went down to -125 at 1 in the morning, and that's when I moved on them. From a totals perspective, the over was very low for a Colorado game. Very low, opening up at 9.5, juiced to the over, and it's gone full swing. So it went up to -125, then down to -120, then back to -115, where it opened. That was at 8:12 this morning. At 10:15 this morning, money came in on the over. I'm expecting, we'll take a look at the numbers, but it went up to -130 towards the over. So let's see what the wind is telling us in this spot in Colorado. It's just 63 Fahrenheit, cool, chilly weather, and it's blowing in heavy. 16 miles per hour. First pitch goes down to 10.9 by the third hour of the baseball game. Let's take a look at what we're dealing with from a cash perspective with the Rockies. We have 57% of the tickets on the Rockies, 54% of the cash. Then 71% of the tickets are on the under and just 39% of the cash. So big bets have come in on the under, big bets have come in on the over, and we've seen the market add juice to that over. Stroman versus Marquez. Stroman, 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 homer, 3 walks, 3 Ks, and a 5-4 loss at home versus the Brewers, while Marquez had a nice start at home versus the Dodgers. 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. It was a solo shot, no walks, 5 Ks against the Dodgers, and we know what Marquez can do at home. Cubs versus righties, 229, 683 OPS. Rockies, almost the exact same numbers, 231, 677 OPS. Both bullpens have been good. Cubbies, 2.92 ERA, 1.01 whip, while the Rockies has been lights out. 0.68 ERA, 0.83 whip. Joe Rivers says, Jimmy, I sense a deep-seated hatred for Marcus Stroman. No, I love Stroman. And I loved him being here, and he's a passionate dude. I didn't like some of his antics last year with the Mets. So some of the things over the last 2 years, let's say, he's bothered me a little bit. But I love his bravado. He's what, 5'8". I mean, his dad is just ripped. His dad's such a monster. I believe he's been a Marine for 30 years. I love Stroman, and I think a lot of people do. And I think there's a lot of value betting against him, even though we know he steps up in big-time situations. Bobano will be first, and he knows Marcus Stroman intimately as well. Take it away, Bobano, Cubs, Rockies.
Yeah, this is probably a lean for me as well to Colorado, but I'm going to stay off because I did like what I saw from Stroman. And the Cubs are playing good baseball. I mean, it's been a nice start for them this year, 4-2. They've definitely been hitting better than I thought they would coming into the year. They've scored runs. Their pitching's actually held up relatively well. They got a decent outing from Steele, and the bullpen came in and was solid last night coming in after him. So, the Cubs are definitely a team that's kind of impressed me for the better. I mean, I didn't think they were going to be this good to start the year, but again, 1 week does not make a season. But, as of right now, I've just got a little trepidation going against them. But you mentioned Marquez's numbers at home last year were good. Colorado off a home loss and playing at home again is usually a pretty good spot. We're talking about a team that played outstanding baseball at home last year. But I want to give Stroman some credit and the Cubs credit. They're playing well. I'm not in a rush to fade them. So the lean was to Colorado, but I'm gonna end up passing.
I wonder if that first 5 under 5.5 at -120 is worth it. I wonder. Let's hear what that's -120 at Bet365. I'm sure you can find better numbers. Let's see what the Big Ragoo has to say about this. Take it away, Ragoo. Cubs, Rockies.
When you said it looked like a low number for a game at Colorado 10, I was thinking the same exact thing at first. But then it started breaking down how these two had early success. Stroman, with the Mets last year. Not a huge fan, but you got to give him his due. He's a solid pitcher. But I think both of these guys against competition, looking at their history, they both have been hittable, against the opposing lineups. It's been spotty, but you got some, 500, some 333s, and some 417s sprinkled in there, depending on the confirmation of lineup. I'm gonna look at the confirmation of lineups. I think this could be a good over spot. I know you talked about under 5.5 the first 5, but I think longer term, I think one of these guys is going to get touched up, and I think we're going to see some crooked numbers here.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe that'll be enough to keep me off. I still want to back Marquez, and I didn't want to double up on the game. I doubled up. So I do feel like there's a slight advantage with the Rockies bullpen and the Rockies lineup, but not much of an advantage.
And what about the number moving off of the open on the favorite? Which way has that number been tailed down or up?
That has moved towards the Cubbies. They opened up plus 115. They're now plus 105. Yeah. And CT Bay saying that Stroman's start last season at Coors was amazing. Stroman's someone that you trust in big situations. He's always stepped up in those situations, and he has throughout his whole entire career and his whole life. And I like him. But I want Marquez at home at a low price every chance I can get all year, and I will bet it nonstop. I will just bet it nonstop. There you go. So I'm the only one who's made anything official on this game. I'm a Rockies -1 at plus 111. I built it myself with the -1 calculator, money line -125, run line plus 150. Just 2 games left here, and we are done this card. 9:40 p.m. Eastern. Atlanta Braves 3-4. First road game of the year against San Diego Padres.
3 games left, Jimmy. 3.
Oh, yes. Sorry. 3.
Atlanta, San Diego, Houston, Seattle, Cincinnati Dodgers. Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. Okay, let's roll. Petco Park in San Diego, California. We have Kyle Wright going up against 23-year-old third overall pick in the 2017 draft, Mackenzie Gore, a lefty. He looked dominant in his lone start this year for El Paso. 5 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 7 Ks, and no walks. In 2021, he went from rookie to high A to double A to triple A. He went 1-3, 3.93 ERA, 1.47 whip, 50 1/3, 61 Ks, and 28 walks. So you see that whip at 1.47, but he does have pretty electric stuff. Kyle Wright was once a highly thought of prospect, but that's gone away fast. But he had a great start to start out the year. 6 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks, and a 2-1 win at home versus the Reds. Braves versus lefties, 296, 807 OPS, while the Padres versus righties, 265, 712 OPS thus far this year. Braves bullpen 4.73 ERA, 1.27 whip, while the Padres have a 4.88 ERA and a 1.41 whip. Let's take a look at the market movement here in San Diego. We have it opening up at a pick'em and 5-cent move towards the Padres at 1:30 in the morning, and another 5-cent move at 2:24. So it's now -120 for the Friars. The total opened up at 8.5, juice to the under. There's been a 5-cent move towards the over at Bet365, so it's now -105 to -115. We go over to the cash flow in this spot. We see that these Padres have 55% of the tickets, but just 42% of the cash. And then 40% of tickets to the under, 55% of the cash to that very under. Big Ragoo, take it away, Braves, Padres.
2 young guns, 2 young pitchers. Not a whole lot of looks either way. I mean, I think Gore's making his MLB debut tonight, right? Against the world champs. That's an angle, like I say, normally mid-season, but young guy coming up against a season lineup. I don't know. I know that he's a great prospect for them, but just not just on that angle alone. But I just think trying to figure out a way to bet this game. The line's indicative of where it needs to be, I think, as far as the minus and the run lines and the actual total for that matter. But I was thinking a way to bet this game because I think it's going to be a good game to bet. I think it's going to present some opportunity, and the way I looked at it, I think the 4.5, I think, is doable for the Braves. What are you showing for a total on the Atlanta Braves, over and under?
Let's get you a team total here for the Braves. By the way, our guy Moose Money and Damon Santori will both be at this game tonight.
That's going to be a good game.
Yeah, what a fun game to be at. Let's go to the team totals for the Braves. The team total at Pinnacle's at 4.5 plus 116 to the over. So I could find a different price there, and the Friars are at 3.5.
3.5. See that what's the number on the 3.5?
It's expensive, -139.
Yeah. See, I think the first time out against the world champs, I think that might present some value there for the team total with the Braves over the 4.5 at the plus price. So I think I'm going to roll with that.
Plus 116. I'd love to compare that to what I would be offered right now. Let's just move over there quickly. The plus 116 over here, you get the team total for wow. So if you wanted to, wow, this is wild. Over here at Bet365, they're giving the 3.5 at minus 135, and the 4.5 is even plus 125. So I could easily build you a 4.
Yeah, let's do that. I would love to do that. I think that's a safe bet, actually.
I think that is a really good bet, unless Mackenzie Gore is just. Because you already have Moose Money talking about the control being an issue. I think that's a great bet. I'm going to build that for you right now over at – well, I'll see where I can get the best number, but I believe Bet365 will give us the best number at this point. Let's hear what Bobano has to say about this spot. Take it away, Bobano, Braves, Padres.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where Gore looks like he's the real deal, no question. He just lit it up in AAA in his last start before getting the call up for his debut here. He had a good spring. He's got a good reputation of being, an elite, potential elite, top of the rotation guy. Definitely not going against him. There's no question in his first starts, because thinking he could pitch well. But at the same time, Atlanta got their absolute ass kicked last night, 12-1. Kyle Wright was definitely better than I thought in his first start. And Brian Snitker, the manager, had this quote that still stands out to me. Like, maybe I thought for sure, Kyle Wright, let's fade this guy coming into the year. And then he has that great start against Cincinnati. And Snitker's quote about him saying he's a different guy from, he's focused, he's driven. He had a full season at AAA. He's worked on some things. He's changed some things around, and he feels a lot more confident now coming into the year. All of those are bet-on quotes from Snitker about this guy. So it makes me think, he had a good start against Cincinnati. Let's see how he does here against Sandy. Let's maybe pump the brakes on the fade Kyle Wright train. Let's see how he does here tonight. So I talked myself out of San Diego because I was leaning toward the young gun prospect Mackenzie Gore initially, but I'm going to end up passing. Maybe first 5 under could be a play here. I lean that way as well.
Well, I am going to tail that. So by the way, that team total over 4 is just minus 104. That's all it costs. I like it. Because we know that this Padres bullpen has not looked that strong early. Nut Flush Allen's on it as well. And MDR24 talking about Jared JB says, my dad's initials were JER. And for a million years for Father's Day, my mom was getting dad a wallet from us kids. She asked how much it'd be to add a K at the end of his initials on the monogram. Nice to have those stories, right? And it's nice to have those stories. So I love that, MDR24. All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board, 9:42 p.m. Eastern. Houston Astros at Seattle Mariners. We're at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington. I did take the Astros -1 at plus 104, minus 125, and plus 135, and this market moved against me. Let's see what it is right now for these Astros. Yeah, it's minus 120, plus 140. So I would have got a better line had I have waited. Let's just take a look at what the total has done here, and we are going into NBA here shortly, just 2 games left. And from a total perspective, this opened up at 8.5 at a pick'em. It's gone. The initial money was all towards the over. It went up to minus 125 at 8:12 a.m. Then it started coming back to the under. By the way, by 11:30 a.m., it got to minus 120 to the under. And now there's been a 5-cent move back. So right now, the under is slightly juiced, 8.5 at minus 115 in Seattle. The roof will be closed. It'll be cold out there, I imagine. But let me just ensure that before I say that. What's the temperature in Seattle tonight? Yes, it'll definitely be closed roof here. Marco Gonzalez versus Jake Odorizzi, and my whole angle was just Astros versus lefties, and they're not hitting lefties hard this year. 175, 617 OPS. I was saying there's a small sample size, but how bad Marco Gonzalez looked in his first start at Minnesota, I probably should have maybe tapped the brakes. 2 innings, 6 hits, 6 runs. Only 2 were earned, but 3 homers, 2 walks, 1 K, and a 10-4 loss at Minnesota. Mariners aren't hitting so far this year. 200, 637 OPS versus righties. Astros bullpen's been very good. 1.75 ERA, 1.21 WHIP. Moose Money says Astros have crushed Gonzalez. Yes, but I wish that Gonzalez was coming off maybe a better start, really. This is probably a bounce-back opportunity for him in the Mariners home opener at T-Mobile. Mariners bullpen, 3 ERA, 0.83 WHIP. When we go over to the cash flow in this spot, we have 28% of the tickets and 59% of the cash on the Mariners. I don't like that. And then 33% of tickets, 71% cash on the under. So, mixed messages here. Let's start with Bobano, Astros Mariners. Bobano? All right, we have a frozen Bobano. So let's pull Bobano from there. Ragoo, take it away here. Astros, Mariners.
Don't look so sad, Jimmy, because you're in good company in this one, my friend. You're in great company. Don't worry about it. I agree. I agree. Gonzalez's success versus the Astros hasn't been really that great. They are able to hit this team. I know I had the Astros the other night on that -1. Me and Ron, we kind of went down on that one. Tough luck. I could have went either way. It was a extra innings type of game. But yeah, I tend to agree. I think the pitching staff with Houston, we got a slotting spot for Seattle. Great bounce back opportunity, as you say. But you know what? I just feel more comfortable with the Houston bats versus Gonzalez than I do with the bounce back opportunity with Seattle, and they are sliding a little bit. So not only am I in agreement with you, but I'm going to take take Houston on the -1.5 to present a little more value for the bang for the buck. I think Houston's going to get runs. I'm not going to go with the team total. I'm just going to go with them, because I do like the opportunity for Houston's staff to kind of put the nail in the coffin, and then the bats to kind of come alive and put some crooked numbers up here. So I like Houston -1.5 at the big plus price.
Well, let's get you that big plus price. We have an up close and personal Bobano. I'm not sure what's happening here. Let him explain. Bobano, can you go sideways?
Power outage. The wind is crazy here, and power went out. Yep.
Oh wow. So you're on the phone now?
Yep.
Okay, can you go sideways for us if you're going to use the phone? Can we go sideways or horizontal?
Oh, let me see. See if I can get this. No, I think we're stuck like this way, Jimmy.
Okay. Let's go Astros, Mariners. I'm on Astros -1. We have Ragoo going for the big score on the Astros -1.5. Take it away here, Bobano. How are you handling Astros, Mariners?
I've got a lot of bets on this game. This is like, how many bets in this game do I have? I think I have 3. I'm on Astros money line, Astros team total over, and the full game over. This is a total fade of Marco Gonzalez. This is a guy I targeted as a bet against coming into the season. He did nothing to change that opinion in his first start. He was brutal. As far as I'm concerned, Astros hit lefties, not so much so far this year, but I think you're going to see them really, and they've got a great track record against Gonzalez. Gonzalez has a 5 ERA in his career against the Astros. Not good. They've seen him a lot. They've hit him a lot. I think the Astros win. They go over their team total, and I like the full game over too because Jake Odorizzi's not going to completely shut down Seattle. He's going to give up 2-3 runs, 4 runs. Usually in most starts, you can at least get a couple against him, as far as I'm concerned. So I like the full game over as well. So Houston money line, Houston team total over, full game over 8. Actually, I think there's some 8s out there. So if there's some 8s out there, I'll take the 8 for the full game over.
Wow. Circa giving incredible lines here on the Astros. So we got the run line for Ragoo at +146. We're going to get Bobano's money line at -108. Jesus. -108. What a number there. And then you want the full game over. Let me see if I can find, and you want the team total over as well. I can find you the 8 at this price. Let me just pull it up here. The 8 I can get you at -116 at Pinnacle.
Terrific. Wow. We'll take that.
Over 8 at -116. And then from a team total look here, I can get you the over 4.5 for the Astros at +103. Would you like me to build 4?
No, that's good. I'll take that.
Okay, so Astros. So then team total over 4.5 at +103. All right. So we have lots of action here. Bobano on the Astros money line -108, the over 8 and -116, and the team total over 4.5 at +103. And we have Ragoo on the Astros -1.5 at +146. I'm on the Astros -1. And the other side of the coin for razor sharp picks. This is a perfect gambler's first glance situation, and he's all over it. And he's on the home dog in their home opener. We move on to the final game on the card, 10:10 p.m. Eastern. Cincinnati Reds 2-5, 2-3 on the road at the Dodgers, 4-2, 1-0 homer at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California. We have Vladimir Gutierrez going up against Tony Gonsolin. Gutierrez 4 1/3, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, no homers, 2 walks, 4 Ks, and a 2-1 loss at the Braves. While Tony Gonsolin, 3 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, no homers, 1 walk, 3 Ks, and a 3-2 loss at Colorado. And shout out to Lamont Williams. Love it. Lamont Williams hitting a 7-game parlay in NHL last night. Attaboy, Lamont. That was a huge payout for you. Reds versus righties, 178, 547 OPS. Not hitting them. Dodgers are hitting them. 296, 817 OPS. Reds bullpen, 4.72 ERA, 1.31 whip. The Dodgers bullpen, 2.88 ERA, 0.80 whip. In Los Angeles, we have 61 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 5.6 miles per hour out to right field, sort of right center, and it goes down to 2.8 miles per hour pretty quickly. And from a cash perspective, we have 76% of the tickets on the Dodgers, but just 35% of the cash. And then 52% tickets on the under, 43% of the cash. So last game on the card here, and we'll head to the Big Ragoo, Reds Dodgers.
If I told you that you win 106 games last year, and I bet that team every week and lost money, what would you say?
Sorry, I was reading a note there. Can you ask me that again?
No, I was saying if I told you you had a team that won 106 games last year and you bet them every week and lost money, what would you say to that?
They're too expensive.
That's exactly what's going on with the Dodgers. They're too effing expensive. But I think we get I think the Reds, not that the Reds are going to be a live dog in this particular spot here, but this would be just, I'm not going to get involved in this game because I'm not going to, I trust Gosselin to win the game, but I think he's way too overpriced in this particular spot. And I don't trust the Reds bats. Dodgers are too dangerous, too many weapons. But then again, I'm not going to lay the heavy juice with the Dodgers here. So this game's a dead pass for me. Sorry, guys.
The Dodgers gone from 235 to 250, and the total has gone. It was a pick 'em, and there's been a 15-cent move to the under. There was a 25-cent move to the under by 8:12 a.m., but now there's just been a 15-cent move to the under. Some money's come back on the over. Bobano, last game on the card, Reds Dodgers.
Da 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 da. I've got the power. Power's back. Very happy about that. Very happy about that. All right. Reds and Dodgers. We've got Vladimir Gutierrez. I still think this guy could be potentially decent, but last year he kind of underwhelmed. First start this year, he wasn't great. 2 runs, 6 hits, 4.1 innings. Gonsolin's been a guy that you got to give Dave Roberts credit. He transformed this guy into mostly a starter last year. He started so many games for them. 13 games started last year for the Dodgers, 3.23 ERA. He's not always a guy that's going to give you 6-7 innings. He's more of a 3-4 inning type of guy, but 1 run, 3 innings. He hands it off to a Dodgers in the year to this point. Pretty good. 2.88 ERA for the bullpen. And look, we saw what the Dodgers are capable of too. The Reds bullpen also showed what they were capable of last night. They just let that game totally get away from them in the latter innings last night. So, I want to see more of Gutierrez. I don't hate taking a shot with the Reds, like in a +0.5 run in the first 5, because I think Gutierrez could be someone to back long term, but he's still trying to figure it out. And maybe the Dodgers lineup's not a great lineup to try to figure things out against. So it's a pass for me, just a small lean to the Reds first 5 +0.5.
It was a absolute honor to cap the entire MLB card with both of you guys today.
Through power outages, we made it. Yeah.
A rare opportunity. Let's review all action. Taint play today is the Mets -1.5. He's also on the team total over 4.5. We both stayed off that game. Seihei play today is Minnesota first 5 -0.5 at +140. Ragoo's on the over 9.5 in Twins Red Sox. And I would like in on the Twins, and I only have 40 minutes to bet it. Then I'm on the first 5 full game for the Pirates, -115 on each. Bobano added the Pirates team total over 4.5 at +105. I'm on the Marlins first 5 at -125. Ragoo got in on the same bet at -123. He's also on the first 5 under 4 at -112. Ragoo is on the Orioles at +187 and the team total over 3.5 at -108. I'm interested in that team total over 3.5 as well. Bobano's on the Yankees Orioles over 9 at -115. I'm on the A's first 5 at +150. I'm interested in that team total over. Bobano's on the over 9 in A's Jays at -127. Ragoo's on the first 5 under 4. First 5 under 4 at -120 in the Giants Guardians game. And Bobano's on the Guardians first 5 +145, full game +135. I'm on the first 5 under 4.5 at -120 in Tampa, Chicago. Ragoo is on the Rays at +120. Bobano's on the over 10 in Angels, Rangers at -109. I'm going to build a 4, I think, under 4, first 5 in Detroit, Kansas City. And then we all stayed off of Cards Brewers. I'm on the Rockies -1 at +111. Ragoo moved on the Braves. Team total over 4 at -104. We built that line, and I'm going to tail. And then Bobano all over this Astros game. Astros money line -108, over 8 at -116, and team total over 4.5 +103. Ragoo's on the Astros -1.5 +146, and I'm on the Astros -1 at +104. And no action for us in Reds, Dodgers. There you have it. First off, we'll give a shout out to the Big Ragoo on his way to Vegas next week. Have an incredible time there. We love capping with you so much. Follow the legend Ragoo on Twitter at Big Ragoo62. Ragoo, any last words for the cappers supporting the show?
Let's hit them motherfuckers right over the head like our guy Dutch says and smash the shit out of these bastards. And I will see you guys next week from Vegas for sure.
Love you, Ragoo. There he is, the Big Ragoo. And Bobano will be hosting NBA Pub Hub today at 4 p.m. Eastern. Bobano, any last words for these great cappers supporting the show?
Yeah, great time. I mean, breaking down the card, NHL, MLB as always. I love being on the Betting with the Bag show here, Pub Sports Radio every Friday. We got Pub Hub, you're right, 4 p.m. Eastern. Playoff preview. We're going to have our series price bets, futures, all of that. Preview every first round series matchup today, 4 p.m. Eastern. And the NBA Pub Hub begins our weekend shows for the rest of the playoffs this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. You'll be able to find the NBA Pub Hub on weekends. And just like our normal shows, breaking down every game during the playoffs.
We're going to have hot shows here on the weekends because then we'll start at 11:30 Eastern with baseball, Say Hey Plays, and go right into the NBA at 1 p.m. I love you, Bobano. Follow our man Bobano on Twitter at Bobano.
Good luck, everybody.
Go get that cash. Go get that cash. All right. That is MLB. We move on to NBA. We have just the man for the job who is probably nonplussed at the news of Paul George. Please welcome direct from Los Angeles, California, Darryl Rice in the house. Darryl, what's happening, my man?
What's going on, bro? What's going on, man? It is Friday. Happy Friday to you. Another day in paradise. Any day on this side of the grass is a good day. And I forgot to say, let's get it started, man.
Let's get it started. First off, we got to start with the Paul George news. How you feel about it?
I don't care. I don't care. It's actually a better line. I really don't care. You look at these games and how they've played out. I mean, New Orleans does have them. They've actually played. They've beat them 3 out of the 4 times, right? But what ends up happening now is you spent so much game planning with Paul George on the court. Now you got to make those adjustments, right? The Clippers have pretty much played with Paul George without Paul George almost the entire year. So it's easier to go back to the well and do something that you do pretty good, making those adjustments versus having to make new ones with the scorer in. So in my opinion here, Paul George being out, it does suck. You can see how it moved the line completely, but I still think the Clippers can win this game.
Well, we will add more analysis to that spot shortly. Let's start with the first game on the board. By the way, Dennis Garcia wants also to touch on the series prices. So we'll do a quick run through the series prices after this. But let's start with the NBA playing game in the East, the 8th seed game, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Atlanta Hawks 43-39, 16-25 on the road at the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are 44-38, 25-16 at home. And this has become, well, first off, it opened at 2.5 and it moved to 2. And that to me was just saying that Jared Allen would be in the lineup. This opened up with all the money on Atlanta. And then overnight, huge bets came in on the Cleveland Cavaliers. This total opened up at 223 at Bet365 yesterday at 1:54 p.m. It is still there. It is still there. Let's just make sure that there's been no changes and that this is being updated. And yes, it is. So that's all the situation. So we're Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. Atlanta 3-2, 18th in pace over their last 5 regular season games at 99.1 possessions a game. In the play-in game, they ran much quicker, 103 possessions a game. So 4 possessions a game quicker in the playing game. Cleveland 2-3 over their past 5 regular season games, 23rd in pace at 98 possessions a game. In their playing game, they slowed it down a bit at 97 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the cash flow in this spot. We have 26,429 tickets in, and wow. So this morning, 57% of the cash was on the Cavaliers, and that had changed drastically overnight, and it has changed drastically again. Oh, that's money line. That's why. Okay, but still, it's changed drastically. Okay, sorry, that's money line. Look at money line for the baseball stuff, and I remember I have to switch over spread. So yes, it hasn't changed that drastic. I take that back. 34% of the tickets are on the Cavaliers, and 47% of the cash. So it has changed. It has moved, but still, big bets are on the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then 75% of tickets and 66% of cash are on the over, and it has not moved. It has not moved. Luchase Fox says, bet all my tractors on the Hawks. Astute Chaos is on the first half under 113 and a half. T liking the Hawks tonight. I'll copy and paste that right now. Hawks coming off a dominant performance in the 9th, 10th playing game, winning 132-103 at home over Charlotte on Wednesday night. Copy and paste this. Sorry, I just want Astute Chaos' action here. The Hawks played without John Collins, right ring finger, sprained right foot, and Lou Will. Neither will play tonight, and now Bogdanovich is questionable with a left ankle sprain. Trae Young went for 24 and 11. DeAndre Hunter 22 and 7 and looked really good. Trae Young, second NBA player in history to lead the league in total points and assists. Total points and total assists. The only other player, 1972-73, Kansas City Omaha Kings, Tiny Archibald. He averaged 32.5 points in 4 games against the Cavs this year. 41 was his high. Cavs coming off their 4th loss in 5 games, 115-108 at Brooklyn on Tuesday night. They were down 20 in the first quarter and fought back. And the question is, will Jarrett Allen be in the lineup? Because if he is, they have a big advantage size-wise, even though Capella is a beast. But you get Mobley and Jarrett Allen, and there's problems. 7-12 this year in games without Jarrett Allen in the lineup. Dennis Garcia says, late in the year, Cleveland was imploding, took Cleveland to miss the playoffs at plus 180. Comes down to this game. Atlanta is favored, yet I could only take Cleveland. Jay Peasy says, everyone is betting the Hawks. Take it away here, Darryl. 8th seed play in game. Hawks.
Yeah, either you're going to get to this game very late, right, after the Jarrett Allen news, but it's kind of one of those things to where you leave your notifications on, or actually a minute before you get your underdog fantasy lineups or your midday injury report. You want to see how this line is going to go. To me, in my opinion, and these are always my opinions, the Hawks are still the better team in the playoffs. They beat New York in Madison Square Garden, and they beat up Philly pretty good too in the playoffs, which I feel that solidified Nate McMillan's head coaching job. What I like here is the fact that you've got multiple people who can give you 20 on the Hawks, and for Darius Garland to give you about 30, then you pretty much got to have the ball in his hands and him shooting a lot. You had Lauri Markkanen, who went 5 for 14 his last game, and it just shows that he's really, really not seeing the bucket, right? So if Jarrett Allen's back, then you essentially make the Hawks play outside in. That's what they do anyways. They play outside in. And if he's not there, then that gives a little bit of wiggle room for Capella and Okongwu. What I like here is the fact that Cleveland has not stopped Atlanta from putting up under 120 points in the last 3 games they've played. So I took Atlanta team total over 112 because I believe they can get there. They're averaging 114 points for the season. They're top 6 there, right? Cleveland can play fast and slow, right? But this game is oddly low. And so I just think it's one of these things to where I could take advantage of the team total on Atlanta's end because that's how they've been playing these last 3. So they know each other pretty well at this point. 4 games in, the lowest scoring game was in the beginning of the season. That was the only game Cleveland had won. So I just think now you're going to get a better game out of Trae Young, who's kind of feeling his rhythm now. Playoff Trae is very, very different. That's why he's ice Trae. These playoffs are going to show why. It's really, really hard for a lower seeded team to kind of to beat these higher seeded teams. But I think the Hawks is the team that can do it. So I do like the Hawks team total over 112.5. I did step on it already. I think that's the safest play, but I do think the Hawks are going to come out of here the winner.
So do I. And a Hawks team total over 112.5 minus 105. Interesting. I was thinking that I was very curious to see how Razor was going to bet this game, and he's moving on the under. The under is his play, and to move even more on that extent, Dennis Garcia says this number is way too high. Now, all 4 playing games thus far have been cashed by the home team and the under. And I only cashed the under by a half point. We only got that under by a half point. That was a ass-clenching time. Wow. So let's take a look at this. Sammy says, if I'm not mistaken, the Cavs will keep their lottery pick if they lose, but if they win, they won't keep their first-round pick. I don't have that off the top of my head. Schnizzle says if the Hawks are hitting threes like they were last game, then it's not good for them Cavs. Says Allen doesn't worry me with my bet because Hawks like to play outside, inside anyways. And Razor does have 200 on the Cavs. Okay, 200 on the Cavs, 300 on the under, and THC's Riz is on Cavs team total over first half. What do you think about the look on the total? I know that you're leaning. You probably are leaning towards the over because you have the Hawks team total over. Is that fair?
Yeah. It's funny that I think this game could go over. Just looking at the combined points on their last 3 games, I mean, Cavs are going to easily give you 100, right? They're going to give you 100, and Atlanta's going to give you 120, 125. Last couple of games, though, 131 to 107, 124 to 116, 118 to 121. So it just seems like this is a game where the total is very, very low. Looking at the line movement on that total, it went from 225 to 223, so it's gone down. And maybe that's just with the news with some players that are probably going to be out for this game. But I lean more toward the over on this game. But with me, I'm not a totals person. But I just think how they've played as of late, in order for this game to be competitive or for the Cavs to get out of this game a winner, that game has got to be fast. It's got to be fast, or you slow it down with the very healthy Jared Allen. But that's not the case here. So you're not going to see much wing defense on the Atlanta side, so you can kind of press the ball in the paint in the dunker spot. But it just seems like this game itself has really, really – okay, and if Bogdan is ruled out officially, that's going to be another thing that's going to hurt the Hawks as far as scoring. But you still got some other scorers on the team. You still got Hunter there, right? You still, of course, obviously have Trey, who could make up for those points that Bog has because he can give you 40, right? So it's just one of those things, this is my opinion here, to where in order for the Cavs to win this game, they've got to match shot for shot. So Lauri Markkanen's got to make his shots. Kevin Love has got to make his threes, right? Mobley has got to make more than 19 points. And you can't have Garland just giving you almost 40 himself. If you have Garland just giving you almost 40 points, then that means if Garland's going to give you a 40 burger here, then that means they've contained everyone else, or everyone else isn't making their shots. And that's not a good recipe for the Cavs. So I do like the Hawks here. I like the over. I'm not going to lie. I like the over because of the body of work that these teams have put up in their last 3 games. But I feel safer going with the Hawks team total over 112. It's low enough.
You got it locked in. And I expect Bogdanovic to play. So does Schnizzle, who been very, very focused on this basketball game. So, and Razor also saying this is to get in the playoffs. There's no way they lose this game on purpose for a draft pick. So there you have it. I'm on the Hawks minus 2.5. I got in yesterday. And again, I would have liked to have been more patient. That's all. I just think I thought I was going to beat the line move, and I had this vividness or recency bias, and I wish I just had been a little more patient on it. That's all.
Well, Jared Allen plays, and you're going to see that move down, maybe a point, right? So you'll probably get a better number if you wait on this game.
Yeah. Yeah. Sammy sprinkling on overtime at plus 1,600. And then an interesting look from Jeffrey Shutsky. Jeffrey saying that Jared Allen, if he plays, will not dunk the ball and will not be as effective rebounding. And that there's probably truth in that with the finger.
Star player theory, right? So he comes back, and this is not just a regular game. This is the playoffs. This is the playoffs. So you everybody has to understand the season, the postseason, and then the finals are 3 different types of games, right? 3 different types. So what you see happening in the playoffs, there's certain plays and things that you run, different actions that you run that you don't even see in the regular season. So now you're going to have to game plan. It just becomes a little harder. And I just think Atlanta is built to be this, playoff team that goes on a run. Now, are they going to go all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals? Probably not. Probably not. Because there are some holes in their game. But can they beat Cleveland at a fast game? Absolutely. Absolutely. So I do like Hawks.
Locked and loaded the team, but just the team total over is your only official pick here.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get there with Jared Allen in, but I'm just going to wait on that line. I'm just going to wait on it.
I'll tweet it out and tag me, and it will be part of your official record. We already briefly touched on Paul George. Let's break down the next playing game, West 8th seed game. New Orleans Pelicans 36-46, 17-24 on the road at the LA Clippers 42-40, 25-16 at home. We're at Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, California. These Pelicans 2-3 over their past 5 regular season games, 27th in pace at 97.50 possessions a game, and in the play-in 96.50 possessions a game. You may ask yourself, how was there a half possession in a one-game play-in? I asked the same question. But that's what it says in NBA.com. Clippers 5-0, 15th in pace at 99.4 possessions game over their last 5 regular season games. And in the play-in game, exact same pace, 99 possessions game. Of course, the huge news right now. And Allen is in. Allen is in. Just announced that Allen is in. Ooh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a very, very fun night. All right. So let's take a look at the market here for this one. And it has changed drastically with the announcement that Paul George will not be available. So at 1:05 a.m. yesterday morning, it opened at 4. Pelicans +4. When it was announced today at 12:26 that Paul George would not be in, it moved to the Pelicans -1.5. And as some of you might have figured, money came in on the Clippers. So it moved to 1. That's where it stands right now, 1. So just from a money line perspective here, it opened up at -180. It was going from -175 to -180, -170. And then it quickly moved to +105. +105 when the announcement. Within 10 minutes, it was -115. So people saw the plus line for the Clippers, even without PG, and bet it. So a lot of moving parts here. And let's not even look at the tickets because they're not going to give us a fair estimation of what the hell's gone on over the last hour. The Pelicans look very good in the playing game Wednesday night, comfortably defeating the Spurs 113-103 at home. CJ McCollum was the best player on the floor, 27 points in the first half, finished with 32. McCollum, Valanciunas, and Ingram combined for 81 points. And it was Herb Jones' defense on DeJounte Murray that really stood out. 16 points. He held DeJounte to 5-19 shooting. And we were going to see what he was going to do to Paul George, but now we won't have to. But still, Herb Jones, second-round pick out of Alabama, special player. They've won 9 of their last 14. They went 3-1 against the Clips this season. With their victories came with an average score of 18.7 points, but the Clippers won the last meeting, 119-100 at home on April 3rd. The Clips come off that 109-104 loss at Minnesota that cost them their 5-game winning streak. PG went for 34, and he will not be in the lineup. The question is, will Luke Kennard be in the lineup? Led the league in three-point percentage at 44.9 and averaged 15.8 points per game over his last 6. Dennis Garcia said, I had no opinion on the game until PG out in the line move. No idea why the overreaction. Clippers win the game. Take it away, Darryl.
Yeah. So I have to stick to my guns here. I took the Clippers yesterday at -4. At -4, I took them yesterday. So I'm not going to hedge out of that bet. I really don't even hedge bets, right? I just kind of stick with it. So if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So it's one of those things to where the Paul George news does kind of bum you out, but man, it's still Nolans. It's still Nolans. You hit the nail on the head as far as Herb Jones, who's turned out probably to be their best defender on that entire team. So you can't put him on an island. You know, he's kind of like Darryl Rice, right? You can't put him on an island to where he can contain, you know, any player on the Clippers besides Paul George, right? But you just have too many options for the Clippers if they get their shit together. If they do. What I would be really, really interested in right now that you don't have Paul George in the game is Terrence Mann. What is his PRA right now?
Let's get it. I know that FanDuel. Oh, but I'm having problems with this fan now. It's available in Ontario. Let's see if it screws me. They've been tricky to load up. Okay, no, it's loading up fine. Okay, it was having problems with it yesterday. Let's grab the PRA, points, rebounds,
Yeah,
and
because I don't have anything on my end.
And
I want to know what his threes are. If he's at anywhere at under 2.5 threes, I'm going to step on Terrence Mann over 2.5 threes as well.
And it's not available there. Let's see if it's available here up at 365. And the answer is nope. So there's obviously they're reconfiguring
they're
the
trying
game.
to configure that. Right. I wanted to see if anybody had that. So what you do pretty much is go back to what got you, you know, to this spot in the first place. And I think what ends up happening is obviously Paul George is the player, right? Paul George is the player on that team. And when you implement him, especially in playoff ball, you ask him to do a lot. He was kind of streaky in the last game against Minnesota, but you have to play fast against Minnesota. And that's just one thing that doesn't work out in the Clippers' favor. If you slow the game down and keep the game slow, then that does work in the Clippers' favor. And that's why I still like the Clippers. New Orleans and Clippers are just about even right now when it comes to first quarter and first half scoring, right? So it just feels like the Pelicans will have to make more of an adjustment. Now, the adjustment itself isn't a harder adjustment, but you still have to make the adjustment in your game planning and your scouting now that Paul George isn't playing. But I also believe that gives a little wiggle room for other players like your Jacksons, like your Morris, like your Kennards if he does play, like your Terrence Mann, like your Norman Powell, like your Rocco. It gives them a little more ability to shoot the ball. Right? Even Nick Batum can get out there and shoot the ball a little more now too. You just get a little comfortable playing when you don't have that star player and that you have to feed the ball to and hope that he's on his A game and not shut down and decides that he doesn't want to play offense or play defense. And so this gritty style of ball that's gotten the Clippers here in the postseason, I believe is what's going to allow them to win the game as well. I really do. I really do. So it's one of those things to where you don't want to get sucked on by these late scratches and the line completely flips. Remember, we've already said it before. We talked about that with the San Antonio game to where we thought that San Antonio was the right side and we tried to get in early on it and it still was the wrong side. It still was the wrong side. So I just think right now you're going to see a lot of steam on New Orleans because the Clippers have lost Paul George. Adam Silver is a bum. He's a fucking bum. Like, bro, how do you let that kind of information get out, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, you should have did some fucking you should have did some covert operation. You know, you should have swapped the tests or something, right? To let him know, like, yo, COVID who? You know what I'm saying? But going into health and safety protocols in a play-in game, you know, just I don't know here. So all in all, I believe Clippers still can get it done. I believe Ty Lue has a good game plan and is a better coach than Willie Green, even though Willie Green's a great coach. It just seems like, in my opinion, man, it's my strong opinion, that the Clippers can still get this done. I'm going to look at man props, but for right now, I'm still going to make the Clippers play official. I've already played it at -4. I just have a better number here.
Wow. Makes a ton of sense. Of course, Pinnacle, I don't know if you've refreshed it, Sammy, but Pinnacle's pulled both games. Let me just refresh it again. As Pinnacle is wont to do, panic at all times. Wow.
Somebody else have COVID? I mean, what's going on?
Yeah, let's see what we can get over at Circa for you quickly here. Question and that I can't answer. I don't have the numbers, or it would take me a little while to research the numbers. So what do you think of the pace? How would the pace change without PG in the lineup?
The pace doesn't. So to me, the Clippers. Let me try to make it make sense. The Clippers already is one of the lowest scoring teams in the league, right? Like if you look at them in team rankings, that's the website I go to just to look at their quarter scores. First quarter points, man, Clippers are 29th in the league, right? Average for the season. So New Orleans is scoring more points in the first quarter. They're 25th in the league, right? Second quarter, Clippers are 29th in the league, right? So you see them in the playoffs, but they're one of the lower scoring teams in the league. So when it comes to pace, you don't want a fast game. I just believe you want a slower game that's going to work out into their favor. So I say all of that to build up the saying that the Clippers only control really the speed if they're making shots early. If they're making shots early. That's just not Ty Lue's game to kind of run up and down. Ty Lue has a half-court game. He is a half-court coach. So in my opinion, it's one of those things to where as far as pace, they don't want to speed the pace up. The game that they want to play is still that half-court game. That's kind of what got him in trouble against Minnesota. Minnesota playing a full-court game on them. So if it's a slower game, that also works to the advantage of the Clippers.
Well, you have the Clippers at plus 100. The Clippers at plus 100.
I'll take it.
If I wanted to bet them now, I'd get them at minus 115. So I'm going to wait at that point. See if I can get better. I love it. I love the breakdown. Fascinating game. Clippers at plus 100 for Darryl. And that's available right now. So let's go into, and we don't need to dive too deep. It's whatever you want to do. But our man, Dennis, wanted to talk about series prices. And Dennis does so much for us. So whatever he wants, we will provide. Let's start with Mavericks at plus 250. The Jazz at minus 310. What do you think, and who do you like, and what are your expectations of Luka? Do you expect Luka to be back for game 3 on the road in Utah or game 2 at home? I know that's a very true. You don't need to necessarily have a take on that, but do you feel like the Mavericks have value at plus 250? And what are your thoughts of at least that game 1 when Dinwiddie and Brunson going to have to step up in a big way?
I was looking at a stat that says, man, so the Jazz are ridiculously their record is so bad in game 1s, right? I think they're like 5 and something. It's somebody's got to give me that record for how they play first round in game 1 playoffs. If you like Dallas, then I think you need to take advantage of that now, because I have a feeling Jazz are going to lose game 1, even without Luka. I have a feeling they lose game 1. So if you like Dallas, take it now. Take it now while you have the best number. Now, I don't really do futures. It's just something that I don't mess with. And these tickets can get a little tricky because of how these injury reports are. So I feel that still Jazz have a good enough squad to beat Dallas in the long run. But, I mean, if Luka's coming back, I don't know how to gauge it. So if only thing I can do is kind of give advice on both sides. Jazz play good when they're making their threes. They're outside shooters, right? But if you like Dallas, I think you'll get the best number possible with Luka out, right? And them being the dogs. So if you like the Dallas Mavericks, take Dallas now for your best number, for that best futures number, because I just, in my opinion, believe that even with Luka out, they can win game one, and then you're going to see that number flop. Then you're going to lose a little bit of value in that. So if you're a big Dallas fan, take them now. Take them now where you have the best of that number. Only because of how the Jazz plays games one. If someone can give me that record for how the Jazz play in game ones of the playoffs, like when they first start in the first round, I think it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. They're way, way under, right? They have a losing record. It's like 5-21 or something like that. So it just depends on, which side that you're on. I really don't like this series. I don't. Dallas to win series 4-1 plus 2,000. That's crazy. I don't think that's going to happen. But this series is tricky. And the reason why is because you just don't know which version of the Jazz you're getting, right? They should be a lot better than they are. They're just underperformers. They're underperformers. So this one here is kind of tricky. To be honest with you, Jimmy, I probably won't even touch this series till probably like game 3 or 4.
I'm excited. It was, I've got them 18-1 to win the conference, 33-1 to win it all. And, the injury obviously was a punch in the gut, but there's still a lot of excitement here. Interestingly enough, the Brooklyn Nets are plus 125 to win the series, about 365. Yet they're plus 750 to win it all, while the Celtics are plus 800, which is, that doesn't correlate. We'll get into that.
It doesn't, but I think the reason why is you're seeing that number the way it is because of how well Boston's been playing as of late. You'll see a big change, a huge change in this, especially if Boston comes out and wins game 1, right? But what you're also banking on is that, Brooklyn is going to do a little better without Time Lord playing for Boston. So I think you're going to see some huge flips in those numbers just depending on how the first game goes. Obviously, yeah, that's obvious. Of course, Darryl, duh. But I think they're just looking at how good Boston's playing right now. They're the number 1 defensive team in the league. And at the same token, they're kind of banking on, playoff Kyrie and playoff Durantula cannot be stopped. So, man, these futures just get very fucking weird, but those numbers do not correlate at all. They don't, right? If you're thinking that Brooklyn is a dog against, like in that series, Jay, I think even with Boston being as good as they are, I think Brooklyn's going to win that series.
It's must watch. Weird. It's must watch TV.
Yeah, I think Brooklyn is going to still win that series.
I cannot wait to watch that series. Grizzlies, Timberwolves. Grizzlies are minus 380. Wolves are plus 300. And Dennis is on the Wolves at plus 300. Yeah, walk us through it.
Yeah. That's to me, that's scary. To me, that's scary, right? You see what this team can do with Ja and without Ja, and they're just damn good. They're damn good. So I don't know. That one there, I'm on the Memphis side. I think that team is just so well coached, and they have too many goddamn weapons, right? So we talked about how the Pat Bev for many is the Dylan Brooks for Memphis, right? Just they're dogs. So I don't know. I like Memphis. Will that go 7 games? Probably come close to it. It might come close to it, but I'm high on Memphis. What they've done this year alone has been damn good.
Great stuff. This is a really fun Sixers, Raptors. I am not betting the future on the Raptors. We'll just bet them on the money line every game. Shaq says the Sixers will sweep the Raptors. Darryl, what do you think here? Sixers, Raptors.
Listen, I just read Mike out. Mike won't let me live, man. That guy will not let me live at all. I didn't even say the L word today. I didn't, man. I didn't. Mike, you won't let me live, brother. You won't let me live. And I don't know if Nate is telling me because of how I like Brooklyn to probably win that series, that I need to stay off the wine. I don't know. I'm sorry, man. It's just one of those things. I think Brooklyn is probably just well suited to beat them. As far as if you're reaching out, or if you're talking about me, Nate, sorry about that. I got caught up in the comments. Yeah, if that's the case, I mean, it's weird how I feel that way. I do. I feel that Brooklyn can beat Boston. I do in 7 games. One team has a lot of defense and the other team doesn't. So I get it, man. I get it if you feel like I'm high on the crack. The Toronto and Philly game is also scary, right? This one's also. Did you see the comments about James Harden saying that he feels no pressure?
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't understand what this dude is on. I don't. If the Atlanta Hawks could beat Philly last year, right, with, in my opinion, a more deeper squad, there's no way in hell you can't tell me Toronto can't get these guys. I'm serious, man. I mean, just Toronto's on a different level when it comes to pace and space, when it comes to these lengthy defenders, when it comes to these two-way players. They just are. They just are. You got multiple guys that can guard Harden, right? Because now here's another thing. Remember when I was saying that last year he'll be, or this was kind of when he got traded, 5-11, game 1 of the rounds. Good shit there. So that should be something to hold you to. Jimmy, remember when I was telling you that Harden's going to be all right? He's going to be all right. Remember we were saying that right when he got traded? You're not seeing much. He's going to be all right. He's just kind of getting himself implemented with the squad. Bro, people are figuring out he's only got like 2 moves, right? So there's multiple guys that can obviously guard Harden and isolate him and keep him at a standstill. So you're going to have Embiid do a lot of work here. And if Embiid has to do a lot of work, that's not good for the goddamn 76ers. It's not. It's not. So I say all that to say this. Nick Nurse is a coaching genius, right? And the guys that come from up under that Nick Nurse tree is also a coaching genius. I believe Toronto can get Philly in 7 games here. That's just my opinion. I believe they can. It's just they are too well coached of a team, and they've got multiple players who can do multiple things. And as far as guarding, you don't have to double Harden. Toronto doesn't. They really don't, right? So I think Toronto is a great side to be on. I'd bet Toronto to win that series.
Yeah, I can't wait. I love the money line spot. Ella and I have our jerseys ready for tomorrow's big game. We're all very excited. Ella just made an appearance. Ella, you want to say what up? There was some food was cooked. Well, come here. Just say what up quick. We gotta work. Say what up. Hi. Ella, we ready for Raptors game tomorrow? Yeah. Big game, Ella. Big game. Oh, it's a food.
She's like, you're. I don't know what to kiss you, Dad. You know, it's funny. I think somebody said in the comments. I don't know, Jose, if you can pull that back up. But
yeah, I got it.
With Philly being bounced in the first round, Doc being fired, right? Morey's going to probably get D'Antoni to coach because Morey, D'Antoni, and Harden are all like little, bosom buddies, right? And then Doc going to the Lakers. I said that same thing, bro, about Vogel. I said Vogel will be fired within 10 days. It took him 7 days to do it. Philly will be bounced in the first round by Toronto. Doc will be hired with the Lakers, and then I live this goddamn nightmare all over again next season. So I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is here.
Do you agree with the guys liking the unders in these Raptors-Sixers games?
I always have to kind of give a disclaimer that I'm not a totals guy first. So I don't know. I'm just going to be real with you on this one here and not try to give you some kind of slick answer. I don't know here. If you have Harden sucking, at what point does MB kind of turn it on? Do you wait till Harden's shot up 15 shots and have not just made them to where MB is like, all right, that's enough. and then he tries to take over. I don't know here. So it just all depends on when Embiid is going to look at Harden and be like, you know what, bro, just give me the ball, right? I'm not even picking and popping. Just give me the goddamn ball. I don't want to see no ISO. I don't want to see any step back threes. Just give me the goddamn ball and I'll do it. I'll do it myself. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just unders seem like that's just been where the case has been in these play-in games, right? They've all been under. So I don't know. And we do know that the game slows down in the postseason. But I just don't know, man, really how this is going to go. It just depends on how well Harden's doing.
I cannot wait. I'm taking the family up north for a few days. It's just like real chilled, relaxed situation.
Yeah.
And everything revolves around Saturday night at 6 p.m. when the Raptors play the Sixers. And the whole family's very excited about it. And ooh-wee. I don't remember being quite this excited about a basketball game. I don't remember, I'm more excited about this Raptors team than any team we've ever had. I just love them. I love them. I love
very first week of this season, Jay. Remember, I was like, what's going on with the Raptors? And I think that's the only time I've ever seen Ian make a comment. He's like, it's just one game. It's just one game. That was like the first week of the season when we started this, right? But yeah, that shit was turned around very quickly. So to think that this team can't beat the 76ers, this team is for real. Scotty Barnes is for real. So yeah,
this is going to be fun. All right. Warriors, Nuggets. Warriors minus 260, Nuggets plus 215.
Yeah. You see that? You see what Bleacher Report put out about Drake throwing 200 G's on the Warriors making it to the Western Conference Finals?
I did not know. I did. This is the first I've heard of that.
Your northern brother up there put 200 bands on Golden State, making it to the Western Conference Finals, man. That's some crazy shit.
Yeah. I wonder what
but he's like Mattress Mac. He could lose some money. Mattress Mac was losing. Mattress
Mac can't touch. Let's not put Mattress Mac and Drizzy in the same conversation, all right?
Come on. Yeah, so there's another stat that says you take Joker off the team and Denver is an under 500 team. They probably don't even make the playoffs.
Agreed.
Right? So Golden State, even though they have lived down, they have played down to their potential this year. I think they're a playoff squad. They know this very well. So if I have to look, I think Golden State can win this series. Right. Steph is on track to play, right? Clay has kind of been himself, and then he's been off himself. He's been on himself. He's been off himself. But I with Golden State, you have to win by committee. And that's what Kerr is good at, winning by committee. You have everybody just do a lot of something and not completely depend on Steph making his threes or Clay making his threes. Now, once they make their threes, the game is over. The game is over. But you can insert a little bit of Jordan Poole. You can, insert a little bit of these glue guys to do a little more, and then you win these games. So, yeah, I do like Golden State to come out of this series.
Bucks, Bulls.
Yeah.
Do you have any interest in Bucks 4-0 at plus 275? In my history, whenever I've liked a 4-0 sweep, and this is like we're going back like 15 years, 16 years. I've bet the 4-1 instead of the 4-0, and
the gentleman sweep.
I've had a great run with that.
The
4-1 is the most expected outcome here at Bet365 plus 175.
Yeah.
Do you have any interest in the 4-0 correct score, the 4-1 correct score with the Bucks Bulls?
If I were to do anything, I would go the 4-0, right? And it just, for whatever reason, it just seems like the Bulls can't beat these elite squads, right? Either they can or they just don't really want to. This is like when they get to these top 3, top 4 squads, they're like, oh, not on duty. We're just not playing today. We'll see y'all tomorrow. It's just how the games are with the Bulls, man. So if it's the first round where you have a lot of games going, see, this is when I could put on my tinfoil hat as well, right? The league makes money the more games are played. But no one's really caring about the fucking Bulls. And it's the first round. So you have a lot of teams playing. You have a lot of games playing. If this were, say, the third round or even possibly the second round, I'd give you a 4-1. But this is the first round. Bucks trying to get their shit in and get out. So, yeah, I would look at a 4-0 sweep here because I think that's how it's going to be. I really do. So.
Uh-oh. What's up?
Byron Buxton just got hurt, so he's out of the game now. Slid into second base. It looks like a muscle injury. It wasn't anything like collision, so he's out of the game now.
What's the score?
Just started, but the Red Sox just dropped a fly ball in the sun. That's why Byron Buxton's on second, so good start. 0-0.
I did move on him. I got plus 105, not plus 110. I got plus 105, so I did.
I wanted to throw up because they did a tribute to their announcer that just passed away this offseason. So that made me wanted to throw up having the Twins. But here we are.
Here we are. Here we are. Darryl, what a pleasure it is to cap with you throughout this season. One of the things I'm going to do while we go away, much to my girlfriend's chagrin, is that I'm going to get the stats caught up. So I'm just going to sit in the corner because I fell behind through San Antonio.
Yeah, hopefully I'm at 60, man. Hopefully I got there close to it. I know
you've had a spectacular year.
Yeah.
And I apologize for falling behind. Not something that has happened in my past often. But let's review your action here. You are on the Hawks team total over 112.5 at minus 105, and you are on the Clippers at plus 100. Finally, we'll let Astute Chaos, whom we love dearly, and Astute Chaos, by the way, he is on the first half under 113.5 in Atlanta, Cleveland. He wants to know, how do you feel about Miami?
Man, that's okay. So Astute, that's a damn good question. And it's funny that you ask that because I've really been trying to figure this team out all year. Really, right? I mean, what Spoles has done with the decimated team and with the guy, probably the only guy in the NBA that we had to put an all points bulletin out on, which is Morris, after fucking Nurkic getting the people's elbow to the back. I mean, or not Nurkic, I'm sorry, Joker. After Joker gave the fucking people's elbow, we did not see Markieff Morris at all, who was their wing defender, their wing shooter. And you now have your sixth player of the year coming out of Miami, most likely by a landslide, right? And Tyler Hero, no Victor Oladipo, right? There's been issues with Kyle Lowry, who, I mean, y'all in Canada tell me what's going on, man. He was out a lot for personal reasons. Right?
Yes, it's his family. He stepped out on the fam, and so
so he's getting a divorce. Yeah, see, that type of shit messes you up, bro. See, look, the first year, bro, come out of Canada, he come down to Miami, right? Find a bunch of ladies over there off Ocean Drive, Ocean Boulevard. I don't know, man. It's just a different lifestyle in Miami. Now you want to leave your shorty. I'm just saying what Spoelstra's been able to do with all that madness going on with Jimmy Butler and, Spoelstra saying, you want to fucking fight me? I mean, that team is heat culture to the 100 degree here, especially this year. So you can't count these guys out. You just can't. You can't count Miami out. I think Miami is probably, of all the gritty teams in the league, the grittiest. And we're saying, okay, yeah, that's also obvious. They're number one in the East, right? Who's the better conference this year as far as competitiveness and teams kind of keeping it close together? It's definitely the East, right? The best teams in the West are Memphis and the Phoenix Suns by a landslide, right? But the East is just so much well put together as far as teams that are competing and teams that are, the East is definitely the stronger conference this year. So what Miami's been able to do in a stronger conference, in my opinion, says a lot about that coaching and says a lot about those guys as a squad together. So how I feel about Miami is even in all that disarray, these guys are still number one in the East. You cannot count them out. You just can't. You just can't.
Yeah.
So let these guys be healthy for whatever. Like let these guys be on one accord. You know what I'm saying? Let Heat culture, be Heat culture with all this distraction and shit that they go through. I just think you can't count those guys out regardless of what's going on. So if you do like the Heat, you need to stick with it because they have a great coach, great culture. And for whatever reason, these guys are getting it done with a decimated team all year.
Darryl, could I get more analysis on the women of Miami? I think you seemed like you had a lot of research developing on that. So do you have any further analysis on that?
Bruh. Okay, so I haven't been to Miami, and man, okay, yes, I'm dating myself, but I used to go to Miami every year for ECF, the electronic, or I'm sorry, not ECF, EMA or EMC, Electronic Music Conference. And in the beginning of the week, there you go, and it's just all a bunch of seminars for producers, a bunch of conferences that are giving you new software that's coming out or updates. And this is at the time where you had like Ableton and Fruity Loops and things of that nature. And then you have guys that would kind of sample that and give you samples of the new stuff that's coming out. After that, like after Wednesday, this is when all the DJs are coming out, right? And now you got the whole club scene kicks in. Man, what the ladies you see walking around Miami, bro, like they make you want to leave your wife too. That's all I'm saying, man. So, and it's not like just one or two. It's like every woman.
Shout out to my sister in Miami.
So yeah. So I mean, Miami is live, man. Miami is Miami for a reason. So it's real easy to get caught up there.
No comment.
No comment. Yeah.
Miami going to the Eastern Conference Finals, says Sammy. Nathan Cerna says if Heat can harness their bad energy, they are dangerous.
They are. If they go to the Eastern Conference Finals, it's because that's crazy. I don't know. I'm torn with that one. Maybe they should. Maybe they should go to the Eastern Conference Finals regardless, but I just have to see who's in their way.
Yeah, what an interesting moment when Jokic hit Markieff. I mean, that was one of the most interesting moments of the entire season.
I do love house music.
Well, we are locked in. Darryl, Hawks team total over 112.5, and the Clippers at plus 100. Darryl, my man, can't wait to be back in action with you on Wednesday. We're going to have so much to talk about, and we have our NBA Pub Hub now going 7 days a week, so I know you'll be all over that as well.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so, man. Hope they let am I officially still the new guy?
No, you are a big part of the squad.
Okay,
and,
So
your money.
Let me in, Ian. Let me in.
Much love, my man. Follow our guy on Twitter at It's Darryl, and spectacular season. And we have many, 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 many more ahead of us capping together. We've all loved working with you.
Absolutely.
Great regular season. Let's carry it over to the playoffs. Any last words for the cappers supporting the show?
Peace and love, man. It is Good Friday, so make sure you thank the Lord for all of your blessings that you have. Jimmy, I hope you got some Easter baskets for the babies, man. It is. I really appreciate this opportunity. I feel like I've met some great people that I've gotten so caught up in just looking at the chat at times and just seeing how you guys think. You guys really motivate me. And guys with the like THC, Astute, and Mike Allen, man, you guys, I really appreciate the hard work that everybody puts in. Dan Kelly, like when you start naming names, you get in trouble, right? But everybody, I'm learning something from all of you guys on a weekly basis. I'm learning. So I feel that this year, y'all have made me even a better capper. I do. So I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all have a good Easter. I am going to start drinking here in about 2 hours, and I won't stop until Monday. So I'll probably be drunk tweeting the entire weekend. So nothing. Don't hold. Hey, little spell errors and stuff like that. I'm just giving you the disclaimer now. I will be fucked up the entire weekend. And then shout out to my boy, my brother, man, my little bro. His name is Paul. He is going to be performing on Saturday in San Diego. And I really love this dude. I've known him since he was in diapers, man. So I'm going to be extra fucked up on Saturday. And then I'll be in church trying to sober up on Sunday. And then right after church, I'll be drinking again and be drunk again till Monday. So happy Easter to y'all, man. Love y'all. Y'all be easy.
The future looks bright for Darryl, our guy. Derek Miller says, great Captain D. You are the man. AOD saying, hell yeah, Darryl. All right, let's review all action and put a bow on this show. We're nearing the 3.5 hour mark. Keeneland, race 9 for Guillermo Zertucci. The 4 Mason. It is a Pratt Brown combo. Flavian. And let's just pop that here into the chat. So that is from Guillermo Zertucci. Say what, my man?
Is that going? I love tailing horses that I don't watch from the chat. That's my favorite activity to do.
Yes, Keeneland race 9. It's a gorgeous racetrack, and it's a huge bombs drop at Keeneland. So he's on the 4 Mason in race 9, 5-1 morning line. We also had Clint give us his action for Bellator 277 tonight. I'm going to pop that in. Yes, I believe Astute Chaos. I believe this is our longest show. I believe we did break a record. Oh, sorry, I'm too.
Yes, it is the longest show ever.
Yes,
and we still have to show everyone our good friends at Manscaped, our lowly commercial. Yeah.
Yes, and let's start closing with it for a little while as we can. All right, let's review action here. Bobano's on the Habs at +134. He's on the over 6.5 in Winnipeg, Florida, and I'm resting on my 6-1 plus 6.4 unit night from yesterday, and I'm not going to get involved. In MLB, Matty Ice gave us the Mets run line -1.5 Saint play of the day. I start my action with Jose. He's on the say hey Minnesota first 5 -0.5 +140. I just took the money line at +105. It did go down by the time I bet it, which was like, during the show at like 157, 158. It does take me a little bit of time to put these in because I got to take a picture of it. It took me a little bit of time. But if it's just one play and I have like 10 or 15 minutes, I can do it. Thank you, Ron Crawford, my man. I'm on Pittsburgh Pirates first 5 in full game. Bobano's on the Pirates team total over 4.5 at +105. I'm on the Marlins first 5 -125. Ragoo's on the Marlins first 5 -123. Ragoo's on the first 5 under 4 -112. Ragoo's on the Orioles at +187. The Orioles team total over 3.5 at -108. I'm interested in that team total over. I'm going to be looking at it very closely here, maybe adding it to my action. Bobano's on the over 9 in Yankees Orioles. I'm on the A's first 5 at +150. Interested in that team total over as well. Bobano's on the over 9 at -127. Ragoo's on the first 5 under 4 at -120 in San Francisco, Cleveland. Bobano's on the Guardians first 5 +145, full game +135, and it's 3-0 now up on the taint. I love that. Then I'm on the first 5 under 4.5 -120 in Tampa, Chicago. Ragoo's on the Rays at +120. Bobano stayed off. Bobano is on the over 10 at -109 Angels, Rangers. We stayed off that. I'm going to move on the under 4 in Tigers, Royals. Cardinals, Brewers, we all stayed off. I'm on the Rockies -1 at +111. The guys stayed off that. Ragoo's on the Braves team total over 4 at -104. We built that line. I'm going to move on that as well. And then the spreadsheet play of the day from our Ron Crawford is the Astros -1. Oh, no, just the Astros money line, right? Because just Astros money line, excuse me. Make sure I put that here again. Spreadsheet. Sorry. A little housekeeping. Astros money line for spreadsheet POD. Bobano's all over this game, by the way. Astros money line -108, over 8 -116, team total over 4.5 +103. I'm on the Astros -1. Ragoo's on the Astros -1.5. Oh, and Dan Bonner cashed the Buxton double in the first, and then he leaves the game with an injury. Nice job, Dan. That's usually those injuries work against you. Not Dan Bonner. Get the double, leave the game with the injury.
And on top of it, it wasn't even a double. It was a pop fly that was like right outside of the infield too. They couldn't see it in the sun.
A cash is a cash. A cash is a cash. And Reds Dodgers, we stayed off. There you have it. I'm on the Hawks -2.5, but I wish I had more patience. Again, We got to learn from mistakes, and that was a mistake. Letting the bias from what I'd seen the night before affect me as soon as the line was available. That is our show. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful Good Friday. Happy Jackie Robinson Day. That's the bigger story today. It's Jackie Robinson Day today. And we have a nice long weekend. So let sports lead you to happiness. And thank you to all these great cappers in the chat. Billy Friedrich, Nate Cerna, Dan Bonner, Nut Flush, Allen, North Ender, Ron Crawford, Mally Mal, Derek Miller, Dav Fenn, Harold Williams, Razor, Sharp Picks, Ayo D, Astute Chaos, Luce Fox. And so many of you guys I've run with for so long, and I'm just so thankful. Jay Peasy, good. What a group. Fanatical Jim, Dennis Garcia, Rants, Matty Ice.
Joe Ryan carves up the Red Sox 1-0 at the end of one. Ugh.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's get that money. On behalf of all of us at Pub Sports Radio, Jose, thank you for doing such a great job producing. On behalf of Jeff Slaughter, Jose Bouquet, and myself, let's get that money. Oh, we have 3:10 p.m. in just 40 minutes. We have the Sharpies prize picks.
Move your hands. When you're talking like this, it's weird. Move your hands together. Do something else, please.
Okay. 4:10 p.m. or sorry, 3:10 p.m. We have prize picks. At 4 p.m. NBA Pub Hub. At 5:30 p.m. we have Say Hey Plays of the day. And don't forget, Say Hey Plays weekend show, NBA Pub Hub weekend show now. And then, of course, prize picks after that. So we're locked and loaded here at Pub Sports Radio, but we can't do it without you guys. Thank you all for the support. Let's go. Happy Jackie Robinson Day. Leche and Los Bookmakers.
What's going on, sports gamblers? I don't need to tell you that sometimes when you're betting on sports, making a good bet takes giant balls. But every once in a while, there's a downside to having giant cojones. That's right. Anytime you're exercising, anytime you're working out, sometimes it gets a little uncomfortable. There's some extra chafing. One of them decides to stick to your leg, and that can be a problem. Sometimes you need a day off after a tough run on the treadmill because your legs are raw from rubbing together because of your gigantic
balls.
Well, let me tell you, Stageman Underwear has you covered. Stageman Underwear was designed with your giant
Golden Globes
specifically in mind. This patented design comes with a special pouch exactly for your dangler and balloons so that they do not chafe while you're on the treadmill, so they do not get too moist on a hot and humid desert day. I promise you, as somebody who has personally tested these exact Stageman underwear, that once you put these things on and you have a go on the workout, you wrestle on the mat if you're into jiu-jitsu, you will never go back to another pair of regular underwear ever. The difference made by Stageman, the comfort level that I enjoyed, is something nothing short of magical.
Ball security is important in football and basketball. Why should it be any different for you? Take care of that treasure trunk and that care package and give it the respect it deserves.
When you check out, use promo code PUB for a 10% discount and give your balls the best pair of underwear, the most level of comfort they have ever enjoyed.